Send out again.
So we'll send them out again.
I can condense those if it makes it easier. This is
Yeah.
not, okay, I think that's what, how I'm reading them in, so I can definitely make them.
Okay, let's,
Order.
okay, Nana's gonna condense them. She'll give them to me.
Yes,
I'll take one last pass. And then you also do the ones from the last meeting, so you'll get 2 sets of minutes, which of course you're gonna immediately read. And either comment or be prepared to vote at the next meeting. How about that? Fair enough?
got it.
All right. Okay, that takes care of that. Subcommittee updates. Public input first. Seeing nobody, we'll move on. Matt, do you have an update? Anything?
Nope.
Nothing's changed. Okay.
That's true.
Okay. Other than the stuff that you and Russell put together, which we will be talking about. Getting to yes subcommittee. We have met. We are in the process of putting together a timetable. I found out today that the warrant is due to the select board's office on December 11th. Okay, that, it's, like zoning articles and that sort of stuff is in October, but this, I was told is December 11th. So we are building our timetable for all the stuff that we're going to do, based on that. So I'm expecting at our next meeting, we'll have a full-on timetable and, plan to present and discuss, with you all. Anybody? Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning. We currently have at a minimum a presentation planned for town meeting in September. That you're planning to deliver.
Yes.
And then of note, we want to have precinct meetings.
Right.
Likely they're going to fall in October. I
Right.
think we pick a week, but we should
We
lock it
did.
down.
No, we did.
You want to lock that down?
That's.
Can we say it out loud right now?
No, I want to wait until we get together and we'll
Okay,
talk
great.
about it. We have meetings set for October.
So that's the plan, is to then meet with all of the different town meeting members in that time.
Right, and we have September 15th, meeting with select board, which is really gonna kind of run through the charter. We're not gonna ask for a vote at that point because we want to get to the other side of the town meeting briefings before we do. And now we know we've got some time. We can do October, the town meeting briefings. November, we'll ask the select board for their vote. And then we roll into town meeting in January, locked and loaded to do our presentation and ask town meeting to vote. Bill and I talked a little bit about that town meeting process. I guess we'll talk more about that later in terms of how we make that happen so that Bill can be a full participant in that meeting.
So who's moving the articles? Selecting.
No, what do you mean moving the article? What do you mean by moving the article?
Who's to present, who is putting the,
Article out for discussion.
requesting it to go on the warrant?
This committee is requesting it. The select board is going to approve it. And then this committee will be presenting it. We put a lot of work into this project as a committee.
I don't mind giving all the credit to the select board.
We have done a really,
You trying to jump some arrows, Jeff?
no, well, quite frankly, this is something that I could get real hot on, so I'm gonna have to temper myself a little bit. We have worked so hard to keep this apolitical and agnostic and not getting, influenced by any board or committee. And being able to say that in front of all the boards and committees that we've been meeting with is important to our credibility. And we can't give that up now when we're almost over the finish line. So I feel very strongly, and if people don't want to, if this committee doesn't feel comfortable with us walking in with this charter as being the recommendation of this committee who's been charged to put this together, then we need to have a discussion about that. But that is the way we set this up from the beginning, and that's the way I think, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the way I've, as committee chair, have been driving the process to completion. So, select board hasn't had a vote on this stuff since this thing started, and they'll have a vote on it when they're supposed to have a vote on it in November after we get through all input sessions. And then this committee will be the ones that present it at town meeting.
So based upon the input, there may be some changes. That's why you're putting off the select board vote until November.
Just like all the other groups that we're giving an opportunity to put away. It's the same process
Right.
essentially.
So if you take a look at, I actually did a slide, which I was going to share with you, but I'm not going to spend time. I think we've had 75 meetings now, all of which have been either public or on VCAT. Since this committee started in June of last year. We have had ample time and opportunity for people to weigh in on their thoughts and et cetera, including at this point, I think we've met with all but one committee of town meeting. And I've been trying to pick that, we've been trying to get that set since May. And I think we may actually be able to get that done, and then all the boards and committees, the latest is the library, who just asked us to come in on, I sent an email to you and Russ on September 10th. And so recreation is, I think, the only board, and the Board of Health.
Recreation came when we were at the.
Right, but we haven't briefed them on what we're coming out in terms of recommendations. So
Can I clarify something real quick? You said the select board, that first meeting is September 15th,
yes,
because you also already have the meeting with the general bylaw review committee plan. You're gonna move that, I assume,
Select board meets on Monday, so we have to meet 16th.
which also might be a problem.
I think, I haven't actually said the 15th today, but I think it's the 14th.
Okay.
So, well, I'll get that all squared away. And we've already met with the general bylaw review once, so this will just be a second time through. I think they're going to be greatly relieved to know that we're not sticking them with the entire project, that we're doing all bylaws and comparing them to what we've done. So I think we'll actually make them feel a lot better at this next meeting. So anyhow, and there'll be more detail. We have a presentation. We've been doing this plan in kind of a format of PowerPoint, which makes it easy so we can send it out to everybody. And I think it's self-explanatory in terms of how we're planning to roll this out, but we'll talk about it because everybody needs to have input into that process, but we're just not quite ready yet.
And just for my own clarification.
Yeah.
And I apologize if this is annoying, but you're gonna have to deal with me. My understanding from reading all these rules about a billion times is that any 10 residents can go before the select board and ask that something be put on the warrant. Additionally, a town meeting member, I think on their own, can go and ask something to be put on the warrant. And it's sort of like they have to put it on the warrant. They don't
Yes.
really get a choice, but that's cool.
Yeah.
So my understanding is, I've heard you you said a term, who's putting forward or something like that. What was that term you used?
Well, they say it's been moved and seconded by, right?
Well,
So-
everything's always say the second by the ways and means,
Yeah,
but what?
What Jack is talking about is something different.
yeah, no, that's true.
If a warrant is put on town meeting, then town meeting considers it, correct?
Yes.
So my understanding of the legal process that we've been reviewing, which I don't think we changed, is 10 members, we are 10 members, could bring to the select board a request for a
Yeah,
warrant.
my question then was,
Yeah.
is it us requesting it on the warrant, or is the select board requesting it on the warrant?
I'm with her that I think it should be us requesting it.
Yeah, I just want the clarification.
Yeah. Also, are we 10 people?
I think it often says by the select board at the request of.
Okay.
And this will be at the request of this committee. All right, so we got that all squared away. So the next meeting, we'll talk in more detail about that. And if anybody wants to join us, our next meeting is going to be Friday right? The next meeting of this.
Okay, Friday.
Friday at noon. Matt's my agenda guy, because I don't want to screw that up.
Friday at noon.
Friday at noon it is, okay.
We meet in someplace good.
Yes.
Sorry, not web. It's literally not web.
I thought you said Wegmans.
Oh, that would be good.
All right, moving right along. We don't have an update from the report committee.
What's this Friday at noon meeting?
That's the getting to yes thing subcommittee.
they're trying to, how do we get everyone on board?
Okay, so
Update is, by early next week, I'll have a pretty finalized version. Eileen, I saw that you sent comments, but I did not look at them yet because I was on vacation.
and
But
I'd like to chat
Yeah,
with you
and
about
so
some
you-
stuff too.
yeah, exactly. So you and I should meet next week. Let's do it.
I thought it was great.
Okay,
I'm so glad.
and I want to talk about that in two things. One is there an abbreviated version of that we can turn around for town meeting? So put that in your head.
Okay.
And two is the report that actually goes with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I think the abbreviated version, just to briefly say that, and we'll talk about it. I think the abbreviated version is the presentation that you're giving.
Okay. All right, Pat, I'm going to pass this to you. Now, before Pat starts, I sent out an email today based on a really extensive comparator review that Russ and Matt did, comparing the bylaws to the charter. And so I think we all owe them a debt of gratitude for going through that
Well done,
one
guys.
really, really detailed. So the other thing that's happened kind of in the background is that in the course of this, we discovered that the bylaws that are posted on the website, town website, are from January of 2025 and do not include any updates from May, September, January, or May. So that's 4 town meetings that are not included in there. I had a conversation today with the town clerk, who assures me that she's going to get to it because it's really critical to what we're doing, that we have the most up-to-date thing. And also, once we go public with this, with the town meeting sessions, I know there are people who are going to go with the bylaws and say, okay, they said nothing much changed. Let's see if they're really telling the truth, right? So they're going to want to go through that. So we're going to need to make sure that that is up to date and where it should be. Pat,
Is that because some of them are pending approval by the?
no, because what they do is they say pending approval and put it in red.
Yes.
So, but we don't
That's
even,
what-
that
That's
hasn't,
the mistake.
yeah.
That the part that was in red was incorrect with respect to the minutes. Now, apparently the one sent to the AG is correct.
Yes.
So, all right, ooh, that would have been taken. But, fair enough.
What Russ is talking to is the number of members that can participate remotely, where in the document it said a third instead of 15. The good news is that what went to the AG is 15. That's the good news. The bad news is the wrong one was where they found it. So
And the AG still haven't approved those.
apparently not.
That was a year and a half ago.
Right,
So
and I
there's a backlog of.
I was told that 2 things. One is it can take up to 2 years is what I was told. And number 2 is this is an election year and all those guys are not planning on doing anything but getting reelected at the moment. And there will be no action on that stuff until the election's over.
Can I just ask, are you confusing the special act with the bylaw? I know the special act
Go to the,
went to the legislature.
right.
I don't know whether there were 2 things that went, the bylaw and the
Right.
special act went separately. I don't know where the bylaw is in the. AG.
I was told that nothing has been approved either way. And I've asked her to check into that because it just feels to me like that. How could that be? Kind of like, how could
I
that be?
didn't know whether the AG was waiting to see if the legislature approved it before dealing
Yeah,
with it.
I have no idea. So, but I've picked that up. I also asked Patrick if he could check with the town council to see what her thoughts are on the comment. And then Pat sent an email also to the town clerk following up on kind of the same sorts of things that this committee needs. So, Pat did it as kind of more of a formal request than what I did. So I think we've got that all covered, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that this is an outstanding issue and we need that to get fixed. And I'm confident that that will happen. But
For January, we want to see a copy that will show what's is and what's pending.
I think we should see that within 2 weeks. If I don't see that by next week, I'm going to be, I'm planning on spending a lot of time in the clerk's office. I mean, this has got to happen. It can't be this far behind because just think about it as a townsperson. You go to look and find out what the rules are, like our friend.
I am a townsperson. I did try to find out what the rules are. That's how I've been comparing things.
And guess what? Here's another reason about why we need a charter. Because bylaws get out of date, they don't get up there, and that's, so it's just another reason. Anyhow, so that's in the works. But in the meantime, what Pat has done in terms of the discussion that we're going to have today, going through the charter document, which hopefully everybody has their marked up copies and we can go through, is has incorporated the areas where that they have pointed out into the discussion, so that we'll be hitting those things as we go along. The long-winded way of saying it's not 2 agenda items, it's actually 1. Okay. The other thing I'm going to suggest as we go through this, because I want to make sure we're thorough, is that we do it by by article and section. And if you don't have any comments about a section or an article, we're going to go on to the next.
So we're doing that, the charter first.
Yeah, because I think that you've built in the charter discussion. Actually, I'm going to leave it at that. How do you want to do that?
So, I just want to make sure I'm following what I thought that we would go through, maybe not line by line, but a few sections at a time, ask about questions, but at the same time, so we're going in order, pointing out some things that we also thought that you should look at after we flagged it. Our
Yes.
final review. So just go through the whole charter once.
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay.
And
But
if we need to vote on anything, we will. And with the intent of getting through this tonight. So ready, set, go.
great. Sure, I'm sharing the right document. I'm not sure if I can make it. Okay. So let's just start. I know where I have items to start, but I just want to review and ask if anyone has any question. First, maybe I can just ask you all, do you all have notes or
Yes,
places where you
I
want to
do.
stop and
Yeah.
have?
Yeah.
Great. So I'm just going to go through, I'll start going through articles. I might group some together. Article 1, existence, authority and definitions.
I have one question.
Yes.
Short title. What the devil does that mean? And is that going to mean anything to anybody who is not a lawyer? And can we actually, because I went and looked at it, it just is saying, this is called the Charter of Burlington. Is that
Right, that is, it's boilerplate, but it's also saying what the legal document's name is. It's going to be referred to it here. It might be referred to it in other legislation elsewhere.
but do we have to say short title as the heading?
What would you prefer? It says. I mean, it's a term of art, but if it doesn't make sense to you, we can.
Just thinking it's, if I were looking through this and we're saying, oh, we're going to be making this so much easier for people to really understand what it means. And then you come to the second item and it's short title. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's fairly standard.
All right.
All this stuff is boilerplate, right? It's
Yeah.
very legalese. It's the first section, the first article.
Right.
It's also written in a way so that when the legislature looks at it, it's looking for certain things.
All right,
And,
okay.
so we want somewhat familiar to them as well.
I will defer to the group. I'm not feeling a lot of love on that one, so let's move on.
Okay, so that was 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 1, and 1, 2. The powers of the town is in 1, 3. I'm not going to restate them all. I'm just going
No,
to
just-
ask if you have questions.
Yeah.
Any issues with 1, 3?
Nope.
1, 4,
Keep going.
1, 5.
Why is some, well, okay. Why
I'm
is some
sorry.
of that in bold?
Um,
The last sentence is bold.
right. So along the way, and at this point, we can probably unbold it. Along the way, the committee has made suggestions. We've given you draft language and you've made suggestions. And whenever we included your changes into the draft, we bolded it. Usually I underline too. I don't know why it's not I underlined there, but we started, we've been going along doing that. So, I mean, at this point, that section, we can, and that's what we're going to start to do, like unbold these things.
Yes. I would say unbold it.
But this was at one point you said, well, why don't you change the language to this? And we changed it. And it was highlighted so that if you looked back and said, did they make that change? You could see the changes.
Yeah, I think at one point we were talking about using mass general law standardly throughout as opposed
Right,
to.
and that may
So I
be
think
what the
that's,
change was.
I believe that's what that one was.
They said, is that grammar check telling you it should be particular powers?
Powers of the town.
Particular power.
No, it just doesn't like
The
the word
verbiage change.
particular.
Yeah.
But,
It's AI is mad at you.
and I could look at this in PDF, but I really want to make changes as we go along. A lot of these changes, a lot of the suggestions we've already looked at and
Okay. Discarded.
discarded. But,
In 1.6, second last line, it just says the word state. Do we need to expand that so people know? That if any state or civil division of, this is not any state, we just talked to Massachusetts.
okay, let me just,
Good point.
well,
Unless you mean Connecticut.
you are right now talking about Massachusetts, but this is talking about you having, the ability to exercise its powers, by
State-
contract or
state
any
there's not
other
referring to the
state.
Commonwealth.
What if you, at any state, what if you, for example, in your town wanted to contract with the state of Vermont for a certain service that they provide? That's, it doesn't mean any state in that context.
Next.
1.7, precedent of charter provisions.
Good.
1.8, definition.
Similar, which constitution? At the end of,
Yeah.
Sunday.
That's the second place that that constitution appears.
Okay.
We're talking about the US Constitution.
I use this
Where is it?
tends to, and I think in A, I'm guessing you mean charter A. I use that's how the legislative guide refers to the Massachusetts Constitution as the Constitution.
Would it be capitalized then?
I don't believe it is. But
That's not the Constitution of the United States you're talking about?
no, we're talking about the state. And
That's in 132.
I want to I'll make a note. I'm just going to highlight that, but to look at, but I'm pretty sure that's how the legislative guideline does it, is a lowercase c. But I'll check on that.
Okay.
Because, as you know, what you think makes sense in the style guides isn't necessarily what makes sense. Local news median. I'm just going to ask about the definitions in general. Does anybody have
Well, I
any
have very strong objections to that, but
to asking about the definitions in general?
no.
Oh, do you want me to
B,
go into the time?
well, I'm just thinking about B.
Oh, okay.
There's been attempts to talk about this before, but the general physical communication channel that includes a newspaper of general circulation within the town, the official town website, or other means or channel of information communication to which the general public has access within the town. I'm actually okay with that.
We changed it,
Yeah.
if you remember,
I-
last time when you.
Do not remember, but I'm glad.
Well,
that
you
it's-
did,
it's different.
there was something you wanted changed and we changed it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
A
Great.
multiple member body. Is committee redundant? You've got any board, committee, commission, or committee consisting?
Where are you?
No, D. I think.
Yeah, I want to go back to C.
I think it is, and I'm gonna change that right now.
Thank you. C, sorry, go ahead.
Providing a quorum of the body is present. Isn't a quorum presumed unless it's challenged?
I think we need to say it.
Well, the meeting can't start unless you have a board.
Well,
Right, but if people leave and you don't have a quorum, the quorum is still considered unless somebody challenges it.
Right, by this definition,
You have to have
The
a quorum
fact
to
that
vote.
there is a quorum present is implied to define what a majority vote is. Whereas I guess the nuance you're getting at is sometimes you don't ask. And
Well,
therefore you
no,
have
yeah,
one.
I think part of it is if you have a quorum to start the meeting, I think.
Right, that,
And then people leave
Yeah.
and you
so
no
I'm
longer
getting-
have a quorum,
Yes,
can you vote? Because according to this, no,
right. We're
Yeah,
not
you-
in agreement. That's the
Well-
warning Jack is pointing out.
that is what he's saying.
could we say quorum of the body has been established?
Well, it depends on what we're trying to do. Are we saying that you don't want a majority vote should be of the people who actually are there or the people who were there to establish the quorum? And
It's the majority
And
of
if
the
it's a
people
vote of-
there who are eligible to vote.
Robert's rules and anything else.
So I would suggest that, this is, well, first, let me just tell you, this is the way it's usually established in a charter, right? I would suggest that if you wanted to make that change, that would be something that we would talk to town council about because I think you need the quorum present probably to vote.
okay,
And I wouldn't want to change it without the permission of town council. So maybe we can,
So before every
Make a
vote,
note.
you have to establish the quorum?
That doesn't say that.
no, you
If
just,
you're saying it is also
make the
true that a
assumption.
quorum is presumed, then you're fine.
Yeah.
It's no different than
But
what
if it's a 5-member board and the vote ends up being 2-0-0. Because people left. You're gonna say.
According to
I think it's just the chair's responsibility to just be sure there's still a quorum. You know, like, when what we're thinking about really is town meeting, where you start out with a quorum and if people left to make it not a quorum, unless somebody challenges it, we consider that the quorum is established, right?
That happens a lot at the old open town meeting.
Right, but if it's a 5-member board, the chair's gonna know.
Yeah, 5-member board and 3 people get up and leave.
don't be taking a vote.
Right, exactly,
You know,
which I think is
that's pretty
implied in the language.
That's true. And maybe regardless of the reality, we absolutely want a quorum to be present for a vote. So
Exactly.
cool, solve it.
So I'm gonna recommend we leave this.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody,
do you want me to
no, I
flag
should
it
leave it
or just leave it? Okay,
unless anybody objects to that.
No,
Okay,
and I will just,
No, I was just saying, the way I read it, there better be a quorum.
yeah,
And if
that's
there
true.
isn't, I'm not sure how you deal with it.
On E, I have a comment there. So the precinct is there divided for purpose of electing town meeting members, but isn't it also used for voting in general?
Only where it relates to electing town meeting members, right?
only when it relates to electing town meeting members, right? You
So
divide-
precincts are meaningless except for when you want to elect town meeting members,
except for where you vote.
except for where you vote. Right, that's what I'm saying.
But everybody's voting at the same place
Right.
here, but
For now.
yeah, right.
And it's
Right,
how
we could go to A.
So could we not add something about for purpose of town meeting members and voting? I'm not sure. what words.
Maybe that's ancillary, like the legal, like how is it defined? This is how a precinct is defined. The fact that we handily use it to also do things like, hey, if you're in precinct, fine, you get a pie on Tuesday. Like, cool. That has nothing to do with the charter. That was an example. You got what I'm saying?
No, but I think does have to do with the charter is that it's the areas to which the town is divided for the
Yeah.
purpose of electing town meeting members and for voting.
But everyone,
the
there's
reason-
nothing else in the charter talking about voting
Yes, we have
where your
elections.
precinct, no, where the precinct is
As much as.
mentioned or relevant.
Yes, for town meeting and some of the,
I'm saying except town meeting.
is there anything in the rules about appointing people? So there's,
Well, that's town
Yes,
meeting.
but that's in the,
It's in
that's
the,
not in the
that's in
Yeah.
your
charter,
rules.
that's in the.
It's,
all right, I don't feel strongly enough about it.
So
Okay,
regardless of what precincts are used for, the way they're divided is for the purpose of electing town meeting members.
okay,
All right, I'll buy that.
okay,
Okay,
all right, next. Let's move on.
okay, town bulletin board,
Yeah, there. We could have more than one place where something is posted. So I would think a bulletin board, which in those places, at least one of which is located in the town hall.
I think we have one official. We have
We
one
do.
official and which is what you want because otherwise you're liable for updating all of the ones. So This is like, this is like posting legal notices. You want in here only one. Whether they have additional ones, that's a communications thing,
Okay.
but legally, we should have.
Yes, that one. We have to, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I have two nits. On E and F, it's not the same format, so it's precinct dot, town dot versus dash dash, on all
Oh,
the
thank
others.
you.
Nice. I know.
Can't believe it.
I know I had
I'm
changed
Michelle.
it.
I'm auditor.
Those two. Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, town meeting, town officer, voters.
Yeah.
Article 2, representative town meeting.
Anything on that page?
I have something,
Okay.
2.4, 2.4A.
Yeah.
It says, they should indicate whether the candidate for office is a former town meeting member. I feel it would be more accurate and like more representative of, the varieties of people who enter into office to display any former elected position, as well as whether they are a current appointed town meeting member. Just a thought.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on, let's read through this. You're talking A here, Corey?
2.4A.
Okay, nomination of candidates for the office of town meeting member shall be made by nomination papers. It shall show clearly whether the candidate has been a former town meeting member. And if an elected incumbent of such an office, that the member is a candidate for re-election. Nomination papers should bear no other political designation. So are you saying that we should also, if that person not only was a town meeting member in their past, but also was a select board member? We should say prior select board?
They could be a current select board member even if they're just done being select board, or if they're a former town meeting member, that would be listed as well.
Yeah, that would be.
That's already there, but I feel like an elected of any kind should have that designated below them. I saw it on the primary, like, all the US House members having, various local positions, on kind of their tagline. And I do feel like that someone who's been appointed to town meeting should have that indicated as well, because
Not just incumbent.
not just incumbent, they obviously shouldn't have a candidate for re-election, but if someone's a current appointee, they've usually been to a few meetings and they have some kind of voting record or attendance record to take a look at and see if, that it would alert people.
If they're appointed to town meeting, does that not make them a former town meeting member?
No,
No,
Mhm.
because it's a short term
They're
thing.
not a
If you
candidate
appoint it
for
for one
re-election.
meeting.
yeah,
It could be just one meeting. You show up for one meeting, you're not really a real town meeting member because you haven't been voted in.
But this language in the text later, they can't run as an incumbent.
Who haven't read anything about appointed members of town meeting.
Yeah, that's,
So cool.
yes, there is
Where
if
is
there's a vacancy.
Yep.
Then the precinct members can
Yeah,
vote
Yeah.
and appoint. That's what
so
we're
that's
talking
the
about.
people we're talking about?
Yes.
Why are they not equally,
Because they have
Because they
never
weren't
been.
elected by
They were
the.
not.
they still act as a town meeting, they vote on the floor, they can talk, they can,
They have the same weight
Same
when
weight.
it comes to voting,
yeah.
but they have not been elected by the precinct, by the voters.
I agree with you. What else is hinging on that?
They, They
What
get-
power are they missing?
they're not missing any power,
What
but
responsibility are they
their
missing?
appointment only goes until the next election.
Election.
Okay, so it's like their term.
It's like
Is-
it's like a substitute.
It's a stand-in or
It's
something.
it's a substitute.
From a perspective of like just the incumbency advantage is powerful.
Yeah, I got it.
I feel like that shouldn't be conferred upon someone until they win a real
Okay.
election.
Okay, so you're like, so one point you're making specifically is if you were a member of town meeting because you were appointed, you don't want someone, certainly, we're not gonna be able to claim incumbency
Right.
already,
Right.
And you can't claim candidate for re-election
and you can't,
because you weren't elected, not
yeah,
been
isn't that
re-elected if
incumbency?
you were ever were elected.
Yeah, we don't use the word incumbency. We say
Got it.
Candidate
Yeah.
for election.
Fair enough. Then you're trying to make sure that it's at least noted that they
No, I think what
I-
Corey's saying is if somebody had a different position, like
Yeah.
I was elected to the planning board. I'm not running again this year, but I'm going on the thing and I want to be a town meeting member. It should say Betsy Hughes, prior planning board member.
Or like planning board member
It's even-
here
Now,
to here.
remember, this is only for the nomination papers. This is only to get 50 signatures.
I
This is not the ballot.
It's not, that's nothing to do with the ballot.
And that's why I think,
Oh my God.
I think, I don't think we should do that here.
That's, okay, that's,
Are you retracting your thought?
I would apply the thought to where the ballot is.
Let's discuss it when we get there. Okay, so
Okay.
we'll, okay, then Corey, you're okay with this?
Yeah, as it is. that-
Okay,
that makes
then let's
sense.
move on and we'll get to the other point later.
Any comments about 2, 3? Or 2, 4?
Yeah, just again, why bold, but you explained that. So any place is bold.
Pat, is that typical? So you start off with the, small a through D, and then you say 1 and 2. I just never,
Yeah, it goes small a through D, then 1, 2, 3, and then capital A, B, C, and then Roman numeral 1, 2, 3.
So should it-
And this should actually
indented?
be indented.
It should be indented, right? That's the problem.
Okay, so
That's why it's,
I'm just reading through again, it looks like the point I meant to make, applies more to 2.42. Like perhaps after, like, candidate for reelection.
okay, hold on. This is town meeting filtering. This is getting at the people who don't show up.
This
Okay,
is
That's
from your
what this
bylaws.
is. Yes, this is our bylaws.
Bylaw.
So people who don't show up for at least half the
And the
meetings
special act.
don't get the benefit of having
Right.
their,
I would think of it not, you're thinking of the negative case. This is a power that's being conferred in a way, right? The people who do show up
right,
get a thing.
right.
Right. So I know it's same as what you said, but the other way.
Yeah.
His point is, I think this is the place where we define that some words are added onto the ballot.
I don't think so.
I think there's another place.
there's another place.
For town meeting members.
Wait a minute.
I'm just worried we're not gonna get to that
Okay,
place.
so maybe this is.
Well,
it.
when we talk
Past it.
in elections there, and we have established drawing of names by lot, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that might be a good place to talk about it again. The other thing I kind of want to bring forward is that, the reason for like drawing from lots, et cetera, is so that new people have an opportunity to show up and it's not, all seen in the same way. And,
If your name begins with Z, you're not always at the
Right.
end.
exactly. But also if you get to also list your resume on the, I've been
Yeah.
on school board, planning board, et cetera. Is that going to give the edge to just something to think about? Is
Right,
that
you're
going
gonna
to
get same old
the
people.
same
coming.
was
people?
gonna bring
Because
that
people
up
are
in
going
the
to say,
debate, and we
oh,
have to
I
debate.
want to,
That's
you
fair.
know,
Is there any state law saying what you can and cannot put on the ballot?
There's state suggestions for that one. Yeah, but not like requirements.
Maybe this is the time to have that discussion.
Before we do, can we just ascertain where this would go? So I don't mind if we jump ahead
So-
for a moment to identify the
I
right
am
spot.
guessing that if you want this for town meeting, you want this for all elected positions.
Yeah, I would say
Then
so.
then we will
Put that.
talk about it in the election
Election
section
section.
of the charter.
I
And that's where it would go.
Okay,
But if you want to roll it in or out now, you feel free.
I would like to just a couple of comments. I understand what you're trying to do, Corey. However, I think of two things. What's the practical? We have a lot of people who've been involved in a lot of, how many boards and committees have you been on? You've been on town meeting, planning board, ways and means. Okay,
There was
So
something.
are you
Look at how many-
debating the merits of the thing?
I am making an argument that I appreciate what he's trying to do, and I would like to propose that we do not pursue it. That's what I'm suggesting.
It's gonna be an awful small font if you have to fill all that stuff in there.
It's going to be very difficult to do it, and I'm not done yet. And for people who are new to the community or new to politics, like you was, when you decide to run for whatever you're running for, it's like a disadvantage for getting new blood into town government. And I don't think that's what we want to do. I understand when you're talking about national politics and all the rest of that, that maybe having the credentials out there might be I don't know, beneficial. It certainly shows some credibility or something. I think it is complicating something, and it's potentially going to dissuade people who are new to government to do it because they won't have a long list of credentials by them. So
I can see that point. The reason, I mean, and I do consider that, I mean, I want to make it easier for challengers and I want to give them the playing field. And the way I feel it would be useful, however, is because, you know, when you're a current elected official or a former elected official, you'll have some history, you'll have some voting record, you'll have an attendance rate, you'll have, like, it will alert people to like someone's prior history.
Let me ask you a question, recorded. If somebody has a ballot in their hands, are they going to take the time to research all of those things? Like, I feel like that's the job of a campaign,
Yeah, that belongs in the campaign, I agree.
right? I'm looking at a sample ballot for the primary, and the things that I see on here are veteran, current New Bedford City Councilor, that might be current representative, former Belmont Select Board member. So like, I see where you're going with that. I just think that if we've got a ballot in our hand already, you know, yes, some people do mail in, so you can call me a hypocrite on that. But like, if you're at the at the ballot box, like signing your life away with your vote, I don't think we're gonna like be pulling out our phones and looking at voting records.
I think you hit it correctly. That's the job of a campaign.
That's a good point. Yeah, with that in mind, the only, and I don't want a complete resume on like every single person. Town meeting though, I do think there is a case to be made for just appointed, like if someone's a current appointee.
not elected.
Or, well, if they're elected, there'll be a, you know, re-election, candidate for re-election. I'm saying if someone is a current appointed town meeting member, that could be defined, and only that.
I do agree with that. I actually put that on my slate staple ballot thing.
That's a very common
Yeah.
idea.
Because I think it's important that people should know when they vote that like this person actually was already appointed by a group of their peers to represent you. And so I agree with that.
So what?
Will they understand what an appointed member is?
I feel the average civic knowledge has some.
If you're one of the 15 or 20% showing up to vote, I'm not saying the other 80% would know, but I think that if the people that are showing up to vote, they'll at least understands what it means. Somebody's appointed this person.
Yeah.
If you get outside of town meeting, when have you ever seen it?
Never.
What determines what's written on the ballot today?
Right now?
Yes. What is it, the form that you're saying you fill out when you put in nomination papers?
No.
No.
Is it, clearly there's language here that says candidate for your election is stipulated expressly.
Yes.
And otherwise, we have no other political designation. So there's, at least in the
The only thing
charter-
is there is candidate for re-election.
So
Yeah.
what you just
Name and
read,
address.
a sample ballot
That's
from
another
somewhere.
From the, no,
Fair enough.
well, it's from the primaries. It's the state primary.
The state primary.
Yeah.
So for a state election, they're allowing words like veteran or whatever. I don't know anything, but an idea of what you're allowed to put on the ballot next to your name feels a little bit like there's some degree to which there needs to be some authoritative ruling on certain things. You can't write, I don't know, president of the FU Society, like that's probably not okay.
We got some of them in town meeting.
Maybe, right? I mean, you either go either way. You could go one direction, you say, look, hey, everyone, you're allowed to write anything you want with these 13 characters. That's a different world. We're not trying to divide it, but I'm trying to understand today, how does it get determined what's written on the ballot?
So we want
I
to,
think we're asking that for candidates for reelection, let's say candidate for reelection.
Yeah.
For someone who has been appointed, it says appointed town meeting member or whatever.
Then,
For everybody else, it
Yeah.
says nothing.
Yeah.
And it's drawn by lots.
Plus their address, name and address.
Okay.
And, so not to skip ahead, but 7.4 just designates candidates for townwide office shall appear on the ballot.
Right, yeah.
Let's,
Okay.
please, that's a
All
different,
right,
let's,
that's fair. I just-
let's focus.
Although 7.4 is the place that I think we were.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll get,
Identifying
well, why don't
where
we
this
get
would
there? I
go.
think right now on town meeting, are we at a place where we feel like we have, that we want to take a position on this? And if not, because we're talking town meeting here. We're not talking elected, we're not talking anything else but town meeting.
But we are talking about an election
So
town
do you
meeting.
put down former town meeting or someone who's been off for a couple of years? Does that go in there? You know, you can,
No,
I would
No,
just
no,
say, like,
no.
no resume. I've come around. I agree.
So are you withdrawing your recommendation on town meeting?
Not entirely. I'm just saying that we should also list if someone's a current appointed town meeting member for town meeting spots. Because they have, kind of faced a trial of their peers and come out ahead, and that it's not as good as a full election.
Okay, wait, Eileen, I would like to,
To Bill's point, I don't think people will know. All right, and even if it's, only 15%, I'm not sure that they really understand appointed.
and not to throw stones at people who get appointed. How many town meeting members show up to vote? 5, 6? So they got a 4-2 vote. They got 4 friends to show, and they get appointed.
I think the
I
other
know a
part is,
situation where somebody got appointed by one.
and then there's also the people who show up,
Credential you wish to put out there.
and the people who do come are appointed the night of town meeting, so they don't really have a chance to prepare to actually engage in some of the discussions. So I mean, there's a lot of issues associated with being appointed that does not require the rigor of a town meeting member. I don't know.
I'm at even a higher level. Forget the merits of what you're putting on. The charter is either going to dictate or not dictate how your name appears on the ballot. This number 2.4 is talking about nomination papers.
Yeah.
It's not talking about your name on the ballot. So we're done with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, we agree that, so when this began, I was trying to establish where is the place that someone is trying to discuss. And then when you were saying, well, we're talking about town meeting, well, the portion 7.4. Article 7 is about elections.
But if you go to
Yeah,
2.4,
okay,
subsection 2,
okay. yeah,
it talks
okay.
about election. That's what we're talking about the being on the ballot. That's what we're talking about, Russ.
Can I pose a question here?
Yeah.
Is there any reason this can't be decided by a bylaw?
Great point.
It seems to me that, I mean, we've kind of gone through this. I don't see why we need to push it to a bylaw. I guess is what I'm
Well,
saying.
What I'm saying is that, if you have it done by a bylaw, it's being discussed and voted on by a larger group of people other than us. When it comes to voting on the charter, no one's going to be talking about whether whatever we said about comes after their name on a ballot. That won't even be in the air anywhere. So if you think it's an important point that deserves considerable consideration, are you going to give it to us or 126 town meeting members?
Do you want to have this kind of a discussion at town meeting?
I personally think that we could resolve that here. I don't see, there are some hot issues in
We
the
can always
charter.
make a
I don't
suggestion.
think
Nothing
that
else.
this is one of them. Personally, I don't feel, I think the subtleties are going to be lost on the majority of people. There are some really substantive stuff that,
Right.
and I would just leave it as is, but that's me. I mean, everybody else needs to opine. But maybe let's go around and just kind of yes or no, and kind of leave it as is a yes. No, let's consider changing it in one way or other. We don't need to decide what way, but let's just get a sense of whether we want to leave it or not. Does that sound like a good way to move this on?
So
Okay.
yes, just leave it as is.
Yes, is leave it as is.
So it's a vote. Okay.
I'm just gonna, Bill,
Yes, can be changed elsewhere.
Okay, yes, we're leaving it as is in this, okay. Yes means it's in the
Yeah.
order, okay,
Just leave it as is.
okay, Matt,
Yes.
Corey,
Nicole,
Nikki,
No.
Jack,
Yes.
Steve,
yes.
Russ,
Yes.
Eileen,
Yes.
that's a yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes. What?
Do we?
Oh, no, yeah, we did, we had 9, 7 and 2. 1, 2.
A phone call.
We had one person show up after I took attendance, so it's 9, so the vote is 7-2,
Madam
so we're leaving it.
Madam
Okay,
Chair.
let's move on.
Chair, do we have phone?
Oh, call it quorum.
I'm asking for a phone.
We have a quorum. We have 7.
Okay, thank you.
We have 9 also. Okay, 9 of 11. Okay, next.
I got another note. So reelection, needs to be hyphenated. I think it's in it twice. It's not being hyphenated.
That might be style guide though.
You know what? I think I went back and forth on that a couple of times, so I'm gonna put it in. I have it with a hyphen in 1,
Yeah, just consistency,
And-
whatever, yeah.
and in 2, I'll put it with a hyphen. But I'm wondering what the ballot says, because it says in quotes, candidate for reelection.
Make
On
it
the
sound like-
sample ballot, what is your sample ballot?
Okay. All right, Nikki, you're checking that.
Yeah, it'll be a minute.
Okay.
I have to check.
Okay, let's go to 2-5.
Yeah.
2-5. Are we paying attention here? Sorry, I feel like I got my first grade.
For a second. You want me to talk out loud, louder?
Okay,
Election in terms, 2-5.
guessing there's nothing.
Anything? Compensation, not enough. That's a joke.
2-7 is additional town offices. And this is, I think we worked on the language quite a bit, but it's essentially what the language is in the bylaw.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, or maybe just clarification even. So you could be a town meeting, member. You can be on 2 moderator appointed committees. And then you could also be a TA appointment. Is that right?
For ad hoc committee, right? Where are you?
Yes. One of
I'm
them.
just thinking about
So for
different
example-
committees and boards. And
So for example, I'm a town meeting member.
Hmm,
I'm on CDRC and
yes,
I'm on this committee, which is the TA appointing committee.
yes.
I could be on another town
You
meeting committee.
could.
You could be on all the town committees, in fact, the town meeting committee.
No, I could only be on 2.
Well, this says member of any, or maybe it's called.
And then you can be appointed as well by the town administrator.
To be on, well, I,
Oh,
An advisory temporary committee
Um,
for
Right.
special
That's-
temporary purpose.
that's like this
committee.
well,
Okay, so otherwise, you're limited.
yes,
uh,
So it's
in 2-7, it says,
we're in 2-5.
no, we're on 2-7.
Oh, 2-7.
Yes.
2-7, sorry.
2-7C.
A town meeting member may serve in any or all of the following positions. Number 1, member of any committees appointed by the moderator.
Yeah,
So that means they could be on all of those committees
Mhm.
because there's no further clause that limits it. The clause that limits is at D, and it says a town meeting member may serve as an appointed member of one multiple member body in addition to serving the position listed in 2-7C. So for the record,
Yeah,
you could be on every town meeting committee that the moderator appoints you to,
as well.
and
And
you could also be a member advisory committee, and you could be an officer of election, and you could be.
well, the officer election means you're just working full, so that's an easy one. But I think you're,
so if it's not an advisory committee, then, or board or what have you, then that doesn't count.
is
And
the,
then you're not allowed.
is the conservation advisory board is
that's elected board.
is board.
No, it's an elected board.
But it's
a statutory requirement. Board.
They're permanent.
Don't think so.
They're not a temporary,
But
they're
you're
not
agreeing
for a
with that.
special
I think-
temporary purpose.
We have town meeting members who are on conservation commission.
Yeah.
We have town meeting members who are is the zoning board of appeals.
I think we've got with a couple of comments, problems here. We've got the wording for C says a town meeting member may serve in any or all of the following positions, right? And
Not saying
then
wrong. I think
a member of a committee, any committee appointed by the moderator. So we have not limited it to two, but someplace else, there was a limitation of two.
I remember talking about this for hours. I really did.
If you want to be a glutton, I'll put you on some committees.
Let's put it this way. Do we think that this chart, like, would we care? If the moderator, and I guess maybe for our reasons. the moderator-
I don't care.
Yeah,
I
and I
don't
feel
want
that
one
it's a little
person, the same
exciting.
person being on, as
Yeah.
some people are now, 4 or 5 different committees, boards.
Yeah.
Right,
that's-
but they're
not advisory.
So they have to be appointed.
Right, but let's
Yeah.
say there's
Yeah.
a moderator who has ill intent and they appoint a person to all of the committees. Yes, I know you'll get the papers, but
So what is, when we talked about this before, this is just taking right out of the bylaws what we have now. I'm just looking up the bylaws. I just want to see if it's worded exactly like what we have now. That would be the first place to start. Because I think it is. I think it is.
It's 2-4. Like 2.0, but it's on.
There's no pages. There's no pages.
There's no, but if you look on the bottom, it says 2-4 on the bottom.
2-4. Okay, 2-4 on the bottom.
And it's like the second paragraph on that page. So essentially I broke it down for this to put it out and make it more clear.
That's fine. Oh,
But
here it is. Yeah, I see it. It's under the adopted on. Oh, there it is. Town meeting member may serve in any or all of the following positions: member of any committee appointed by the moderator, member of any advisory committee appointed for a special temporary purpose by the select board, school committee or other town board, officer of elections, member of political parties town committee. So that would limit it to what Pat has here. It's exactly what we've had. Okay, that's exactly, no changes. So
Were we talking about a limit to the amount of committees the moderator can appoint to?
currently, there is no limit in the bylaws. We are now talking about keeping the bylaws the way they are today and reflect them in its order here as they are today without changing it. That's as simple as that.
Nothing, if you're thinking it should be changed. Maybe you don't want it in the charter because it'll take too long to change. Is that what you're
well,
thinking?
it was enacted by a special act, so
It's,
It was.
yeah, so this is got, either way, it's gonna go through the same process. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead.
So this is not adjustable by law. Or it's already law.
Right.
And we're just having it continue as law.
Correct.
and we're making a decision now whether we want that to continue or to alter it. I motion to leave it as is.
I'll second that.
Okay. Anybody, do you want to vote?
You'll need a vote.
Oh, I'm gonna say no.
Is everybody in agreement? Let's say, if you're in agreement, raise your hand. Okay, everybody's in agreement, we don't have to vote. Okay.
That may,
Oh, I'm
any
sorry.
exception.
Okay, okay.
And we won't do that.
Thank you.
You're exceptional. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's yes, yes, yes. Yes. Okay. So that comes out to be 8-1. And that is for section, leave as is. Okay. Next,
okay, town meeting member vacancies. And this is essentially just how,
the only thing I would say is the town website and on one other townwide publication website regularly used for posting notices. For website, is that new? Because I don't think we have website currently in our bylaws. So it feels like that's new. I don't know if we need to hold it.
I know we got it from somewhere.
It's just, it's still in C under 2.8C,
2.7C.
You mean D?
2.8C.
D, yeah, sorry, D.
Sorry, 2.8.
Yeah.
Okay, we skip past B, I got a question at B.
Maybe from the special election.
Well, let's quick, Jeff.
Sorry, the town was-
Wasn't looking at this.
That's weird. I mean, the town just doesn't have such a,
This town meeting vacancy posted in a newspaper. And we may have just updated the words for it. It says, 14 days prior posted in a newspaper as defined and, on the bulletin board outside the town clerk's office and on the town's website. Comes from the,
Okay, so we had that before.
it
yes.
said newspaper before though. So I guess they're talking
Said-
about like the notices
But
that.
what we can do is maybe change that,
We use-
to,
That media, that whole, whatever word we're using that we just defined,
yeah, I just wanna find.
because it will broaden it, which I like the idea of having it broaden. What's the definition of?
And where we said the bulletin board outside the town clerk's office, we could just say the town bulletin board because we've defined.
Yep.
And local news
Local news
media,
medium.
Right,
and then that,
on the town bulletin board, on the town's website, and on one other
or just say local news.
medium.
Sure.
Is that what we said? Yeah.
Do you have to say one other or just say local news media?
Language is usually of general circulation.
Yeah.
Right.
We
We
already
already
defined it.
defined it.
On circulating websites.
So we already defined that local news media in our charter, so we should just use that word whenever we are talking about
I
this
think
stuff.
it should be at least one other or one other.
We had social media as well. I know we have official like pages.
Not in the charter.
Not in the charter, no.
And not
So
for
who
official.
knows when social media goes to the years.
Right. Fair point. Technology.
If we're finished with that, I just have one teeny tiny nit
Yep.
on 27C. I think one should say member of any committee. Appointed by the moderator, just to be consistent with the other.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not, on what?
There's an S there, and you need to delete the S.
Two- oh, 27. C.
C1, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I already took the
You took
committee
the-
instead of took the S off.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I have something under
Sure.
2.8.
Yeah.
2.8D, second paragraph, first line. I thought it would be clearer if you say shall be forwarded to the remaining precinct members. That's what we're talking about here.
Okay, that's great. All right, to vote.
And Jack, you had a question about B.
In 28B, if somebody moved from one part of town to another, then they were a town meeting member, now they're running for town meeting in another precinct, are they a candidate for reelection?
But I think that's. I thought that was established.
Well,
They're
they're not a candidate for reelection in precinct 6, if they were in
So
precinct
they will
5,
not be.
so I'm not sure.
Oh.
I think we need to clarify that.
However, a town meeting member elected by the remaining members of the You're right. So if we were to look at 2, 4, number 2, we probably need to add a clause there indicating that if they move to a different precinct,
They would not be
they don't
considered,
get.
they wouldn't be considered for reelection.
That's not in the current special act, but we can add something.
We'll
So
add that.
let's go back
I'm
to,
not suggesting they should be a candidate, I just think if we need to.
To remove the
Clear.
ambiguity.
I think we need to clear it up.
I think you're closing a loophole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think we
So-
should,
do you want to make it clear that they are not a
Yes.
candidate for reelection? Okay.
Well, this also applies to
So-
redistricting.
We, either way.
Redistricting, I think is what I was thinking about. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it says that nobody. is a
Nobody
candidate.
has
Redistricting, everybody.
it's the same principle applied in a different way.
Everyone was moved or everyone, like, everyone.
Everybody.
We went to 8 precincts, everybody's
It's like,
standing for election.
I think it's simpler to just imagine this benefit of candidate reelection does not apply if you're running for a different precinct.
Yeah,
The end,
just over some.
okay,
right?
We gotta take that.
So I just wanna, I'm just trying to figure out where to put this language in. And so if you can look on the screen too, it says, for example, however, a town meeting member elected by the remaining members of a precinct to fill a vacancy, and maybe we add here, or a candidate who, has moved from,
With different precinct.
to who is a candidate who,
Where are you putting it? What section are you putting that in?
I'm putting it in, 2-4, D2.
I think you can deal with the person moving in 2-8B. Well, easier.
Well,
I
this is
disagree.
the section where we're talking about who's considered a candidate for reelection.
Yeah, they should all go there.
Candidate who has previously
Moved. When did you say removed from? I like has,
She's a lawyer. Let me be in her.
no, I don't want her to use her words. I want her to use English.
previously moved from, let's see. Okay, for a candidate,
Who moved and previously represented a different precinct. If they might.
I just think it's a whole hell of a lot easier sticking to 8B. Because that's dealing with that specific situation.
Right, but this is the section where the power, the special awesomeness is.
I'm not gonna try to make it the same sentence. I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
candidates. Candidate
Benefit, those are
who has,
where the benefits being determined. Specifies.
moved from. Do you want me to just leave that open and fix it after?
Why don't you fix it? I trust that you will fix it and make it clear.
I'll fix that.
You know,
Okay,
any member who's changed precincts is not a candidate for reelection. That was it.
All right,
okay, we're in
So-
9.
we're in 2-9, town moderator and appointments. I'm gonna take out some of these bold and underlines just to, and no longer need it.
What about conflict areas? Can the town moderator specify in advance? So you can, usually Bill will get up and say, if for some reason I can't do this, I'm gonna have Harry here be my stand-in person. What if the town moderator knows that there's a topic that's going to be discussed that will be a conflict one way or another for them? Can the town moderator specify in advance?
Yeah, the deputy moderator is elected by town meeting
At the beginning of each.
at the beginning of each meeting.
Okay, and that's what you're doing when you say, I propose.
Yeah, I propose blah, 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 including appointing Jack Kelly as deputy moderator.
Okay.
In which
So-
case everyone would say no.
I get what you're saying, where it says the town moderator may appoint, subject to town meeting approval from among the elected town meeting members.
Deputy
And
moderator.
deputy
Okay,
moderator, and then, so this is talking about from electing from your own membership and your
that's
own
fine.
town.
That's fine. That's good. We're
Okay,
good.
great.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Town meeting clerk, the town clerk shall serve as a representative. Town meeting, the clerk shall give notice of all town meetings to its members and the public, journal proceedings and perform other duties as assigned by Mass General Law. Charter, bylaw or vote.
If you got a flag from Michael, Michael never joined us.
Yep, he's here.
Oh,
He's
he
there.
is here.
Yeah,
He's
Okay.
here. Yeah, and so, and we're getting there next. And that's on one of I have a couple of flags myself to talk about. And on 211, we just flag currently under your, special act in your bylaws, it says anyone who fails or refuses to appear and testify when legally ordered shall be punished by a fine of not more than $500. And we just flagged to ask council about this. You can discuss if you even want this.
Is that been in our current?
Yeah.
Special.
It is, but I don't know whether you use it. I don't know whether you've ever used it. I
We've
don't know
never
whether
used
you want to keep it as an option. We're just curious if it's current practice. It seems like, it was we just flagged it as a little bit more unusual.
There are some options out there that Burlington Town Meeting can do to force people to come to have special hearings, blah, 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 blah. That we've never done. But it's in
But is it good to have the, is it good to, is it good to have it as an option?
Should it be? Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Is its option too small? Or too big, or just right?
If we've never used it,
Well, if you've never used it since 1970, there's at least been inflation.
Yeah. I was just about to say.
$500 ain't what it used to be.
personally, I guess I'd say this is not an area where I think we should just leave it. I think we should include it, but let's not change it because then we're gonna have to debate on how big is big and, you know, the Goldilocks zone, you know. Maybe we just leave it and take your comment off for council and just decide we're gonna keep it.
Makes the point.
It makes sense.
Council will review it anyway.
Is this comment, is there any powers that the state grants town meetings automatically that this is limiting that power?
Not that I know.
And it's already in there and approved.
I know, but this might be a moment where we want to let town meeting have all the authority granted by the state. Great, not hearing any,
Okay, I think we're
If it's
good.
granted by the state, we have, whether we say it in the charter or not.
but if you say it's currently in other places, this didn't come out of nowhere. This exists in other wording somewhere.
Yeah,
Let's
and
presume
six
bylaw.
eighty-six, yes.
That's right, instead of special act.
Yeah.
If it's already in a special act,
So it's already,
oh, I guess it's already as the state goes, huh? Great.
okay, next.
Okay, town meeting investigations. So, just if we talked about the dollars, we're leaving that. The next section, if you want to look up on the screen rather than at your, what I did on this section, was respond to some, what Russ and Matt wrote about whether some language about town meeting that's in the bylaw should be put into the charter. And if you look at just find it here.
It's in Article 3, Section 10 of the bylaws. It's
What do you-
called liaison with town officials and employees, and it's a limit on the power of,
Where are you? Because this is
I can
not
read
what
it
I'm
too.
looking at here. I'm
And
looking
I-
at 3 meetings annually. That's not where you are.
No.
She's inserting something new.
This is 211. We're still in town meeting
Okay.
investigation.
Thank you.
And there was a comment that there is some material in the bylaws that we didn't put into the charter. And that was, just.
that's in the bylaw, Article 3, Section 10.0. And it's labeled liaison with town officials and employees.
Okay. And the language that was in the bylaw that we didn't include, is neither the town, I'm gonna read this out loud off the bat. Neither the town meeting nor any of its members shall in any way dictate the appointment or the renewal of any town administrative employee or officer whom any appointing authority is empowered to appoint. It further goes on, I put it in brackets for a reason. The town meeting may, however, by resolution or other vote, express its views pertaining to such matters. The bylaw goes on to say, except for purposes of inquiries and investigations and as provided in the section above, the members of the town meeting shall deal with town officers and employees solely through the appointing authority, and neither the town meeting nor any of its members shall give orders to such employees or officers, either publicly or privately. So
I
essentially,
think we had a ruling that resolutions are not allowed.
No, they
It's gotta be a warrant article,
have to be as a warrant article.
so that it's not a resolution.
You could have a warrant article that says, we want to discuss this resolution.
there's 2 points. First, just to tell you what this is about is this, and this happens more frequently in a city form of government where, the people on the council who are their legislature, it's intended to prohibit any town meeting member to say, for example, call someone up and say, I'm a town meeting member, you should shovel my sidewalk first or whatever. That the town meeting members should go through, I think that's lowercase, should go through the appointing authority if they want to speak to the employees. So this is what's in your bylaw. It will continue to be in your bylaw, but you've expressed some interest in having it in the charter. The one thing that I highlighted was this part that said the town meeting may, however, by resolution or other vote, express its views pertaining to such matters. I'm not sure that it's in your bylaw. But I think you could have some discussion about whether or not it's appropriate for town meeting to express their views about the appointment or renewal of appointment for individual employees, especially in open town meeting, I mean, in an open meeting, and how you would handle that and whether you're interested in that. So if you brought it into the charter, you know, has this ever happened? Is this something that is a concern of yours?
You
Is
know,
it something that bylaws fine with?
the way it's written, I would say it has occurred. There are town meeting members who waive that. I'm a member of town meeting. They used to listen to me. Around, like it's some sort. And they have some sort of authority. And so, yeah, it was suited because I'm a town meeting member. Really? So what? Well, that it is there says to me that it has occurred. And this is addressing an incident that has occurred.
What is your thought about that last parenthetical, Bill?
Town meeting can,
May, however, by resolution or other vote, express the views pertaining to such matters.
I mean, town meeting may express its views on virtually anything it wishes.
Right, it doesn't need to be.
Right, so we do not need to
That's
say,
gonna
that,
happen.
right?
I think this is a bold to tell town meeting, we're not completely taking away your ability to be pains in the rear end, that you can still do this.
One question I have is, would the B portion not be in section 2-11, but rather it would be, I don't know, it would become 2-12 or something? Like, it doesn't feel like B is a thing that is respective of investigations. It feels like B is just a statement about a limiting of the authority of town meeting.
Mhm.
Full stop. But the next one definitely feels like it belongs here because it's part of the investigation.
Or it refers back to it. Well, you know,
Is that the way it was in the
they're
bylaws?
together in the bylaws.
Yeah.
I think
And I think it's appropriate if you want to change town meeting investigations to, well, to town meeting. I mean, this is almost like the resolution. You have the investigation and then town meeting, do they want to tell people, you know, under what circumstances does town meeting get to dictate the result of the investigation? And, you know,
I guess I'm assuming that this limit of power goes broader than just during an investigation. Like,
Right.
if the town meeting decided to vote to like make someone not be
Right.
such and such.
well, then I would
That's
say
not
take B
appropriate.
and C both out of the section and not just one and
I
the
leave
other.
them both as bylaws.
Yeah.
I
Or
would
leave
get
them
rid of,
as bylaws.
Oh, I
I
see.
would want to keep them.
Are they bylaws now?
They're
Yes.
currently in.
Bylaws.
Leave them as
They're
bylaws.
currently in, they may be in the special act also or whatever, but
I don't think they're in the special act.
they are in our bylaws and I feel they should stay there.
Why not here?
I think we're getting down into the weeds a little bit that the charter really is meant to deal with.
I would argue that the portion at least, so if there's a limit on the investigations, then that makes sense because we're just talking about what powers the town meeting has to execute an investigation. So if there's some limit on that, we should state that here. And I feel like the second piece is also important because in charter even, because the charter and in a whole is basically saying, here's a body, here's its purpose, here's its powers, here's its limits. Kind of more or less a lot of what flows. And this feels like a limit that has been called out on the power of town meeting that at least existed, the town had at some point decided it wanted. So it feels like it belongs. I mean, I'm with you on the side of easier to change in the future. Like that's compelling to me, but I also like the clarity of, look, here's town meeting, here's what its limits are, here's what its authorities are. And that's kind of why I feel like it belongs, I don't know, like.
Does it belong?
Yeah, it's a-
belong in the town meeting section.
I think it might belong. We are sort of in the town meeting section. We're just deep down in the weeds of the town meeting section. I think maybe it belongs somewhere. We don't have something that just says explicitly, here's the powers that representative town meeting has, because that is sort of stated like There's somewhere we could arrive from state power and say, this is a town meeting, look up the state. Here. Same things. Yeah, we don't have a list in here, like here's the things that town does.
So we don't have-
Legislative body.
Right, yeah,
We
that's.
stated that earlier.
So
Yeah,
if we
you're right.
just changed it from investigations, and found another title, and so that all of these fit in it, because there are kind of limits. It's
Whatever,
kind of,
yeah. What if it's investigations and,
Related actions.
um,
and authorities
And just in limitations.
and limitations? Okay, then I think they fit.
Right, now you're right. So now the heading that describes it, now, okay.
Okay.
And I'm willing to let Pat wordsmith it to fit where it belongs now, like with, do we need to refer to 2-1?
And then,
Because it's in 2-1-1.
and then what Pat was suggesting is that that last sentence, the town meeting may, however, by resolution or other vote express in the views pertaining to such matters.
I'm cool with actually cutting that, or I would propose we cut that.
I do too.
I would,
Okay, so I think we're in agreement on that. Anybody not?
as I say, I think that was throwing his opinion as a whole.
Okay, get rid of that. All right, good. Thank you. Okay, anything more on that one, or should we move on to 12?
so,
Page 11, maybe I should say. Page 11.
so I have something on 212. Also, you know, addressing, Russell's and Matt's concerns, but does anybody else have anything else on 212 before I launch into that?
Well, I would say, so I'm curious about if it can be changed. Because, any team meeting member or the first town meeting is a they vote. So they can say they.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels vicious though, so, where it's possible to change it outside of this race.
That's right, everybody, but it's possible. It says, if the chart is going to be passed at one time. It's saying, yeah, it's raising. It's getting changed. It's not, because the charter says, unless an alternative method of voting is approved by town meeting members. We discussed the answers, you will have approved it by passing the bylaws.
So we discussed this quite a bit. This is the wording that we came up with because we wanted to acknowledge the fact that you could stand up and vote because, you didn't have to stand up and vote for everything. So I guess the question is, Pat, to you, is the stand-up vote a standard thing, and so what you need to do is say this as an exception, or is the stand-up the exception and the raise hands is the standard? Can we flip that?
First of all, town meetings are different. I think the purpose of the stand-up vote is that if there is a recount, it's much more noticeable if someone stands up and sits down than it is if they are simply raising their hands. They can recount, change their minds. If they, judge. And so the standing here sitting is a more visible, so kind of a basic. But obviously, if somebody can stand up, that's certain method that comes in, and so. If you would like the opportunity just by bylaw.
It's given the fact that we try to ensure this. It's that we can. And even saying we just need to vote. Yeah, roll call thing, if we just kind of use this as we originally came up with it. Whether that would be acceptable.
I find it acceptable. If, raising hands it's also the next step, because it's safety.
Yeah.
Everybody, environment, just a standing vote. That we,
That was close, yeah.
And you just decide, I want this to be a standing vote, and you say, are we
I look up the audience and I go,
Not fair.
No,
it's not clear.
I mean, in the beginning, it's supposed to be a count. You or someone triggers a vote that says, we're gonna make it so that it can be a raising of hands.
Right.
So there's an official vote that happens for this meeting, that's how it's gonna happen. What is the authority under which you turn it back to a standing vote?
Unless an alternative method, whatever is approved.
Well, it was approved because they voted to raise their hands during that meeting. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to be like, if you do a certain way, then why don't we try to encode it that way? Now, so there's something like, maybe there's a line of language here saying like, if, I don't know,
I think
I'm
it
not
needs
trying to
be
meddle too hard.
So
but-
just make the vote at the beginning of town meeting, like it's a minute.
It is, but we want a more efficient government here.
Yeah,
Just like. That.
Okay. Mike was just telling me from home that the audio is getting back bad and it's not clear. He, exited and came back. I don't know, I will let you know that, yeah, the audio is very bad, the audio. Can we start for this room?
Can we restart the web from this, like, we can't do it?
We cannot. It's the sound system here, so two things. Everybody needs to speak up. And I think that will be helpful. And that's it. And if Mike is on, Mike should speak up when he can't hear us, so.
Yeah.
He's welcome to also.
He can.
Don't wait to be recognized.
Yeah, don't wait to be recognized, just jump in and speak loudly, because the speaker in here is, I thought was better for us than it was for him, but. Okay, let's, on this
Hey,
one.
just so you know,
There you are.
yeah, I can, it goes in and out. It's not the volume. It just turns like gravelly or underwater for a few sentences and then it comes back. So
Okay.
I'll do my best to keep listening in and I'll jump in if there's something I need to say or
Okay, good. Don't wait for us to acknowledge you, just jump.
great. Thank you.
Because we can't see you. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend, that we leave the wording that we came up with on this one for now, or leave it in the charter. Is there any objection?
Not overly, it's just, I figure we can save Phil from saying a sentence every 4 months.
I'd just like to hear his voice.
There's a litany of things I have to bring up and, thank who's ever, helping us out and, mentions something that happened somewhere or have us minute of silence for somebody, whatever.
there might be another angle on this, which is even that is how it's done, and everyone who gets it, and they've all been in. But what if you're a new person who's watching this, you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, it sounds like we're all leaning towards, leave it, it's the way it's been. But maybe it does feel fundamentally stupid. Like, why would we not fix the thing that's stupid and make it more correct to what it should be? And this is the one moment where it's going to happen.
So what would you say?
Say, what would you say?
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
I also understand that you have an ad hoc committee or a committee that's looking into electronic voting.
Yes.
Which kind of will change, which will end this discussion pretty quickly if they enact that. I don't know. I don't know.
People are leaning towards no on that just because of the cost.
Let's say either way, maybe we make it a recommendation or something, or maybe we don't even make it a recommendation, but at a minimum, I can back off the charter change because it still says unless an alternative method of voting is approved by town members. To my eyes, to my reading, pass one bylaw and change the way you do the vote and you're done. So cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should do that if you don't like it.
If town
If you don't
meeting
care,
is
then don't.
given the authority to change it, which this
This
does,
does, right. So,
then we can change it by.
Okay,
So, but this language would be staying in the charter,
yes.
and we would have to refer to the.
yeah, that's it. Again, in case there's any confusion, everything can't go on the charter, right? Some things are purposely in the bylaw.
Those two things conflict with each other and they're in two different documents.
They don't conflict. It
but
very
they
clearly
can't
says
conflict.
unless an alternative method of
I
voting is approved.
understand that. I understand that. But then you're reading the charter. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Then you're reading the charter and you say, well, was an alternative method of voting approved by town meeting members? How do I find that out? And then you have to go dig through the bylaws and find
But the
No,
same
no,
would be
you
true
check
for
the minutes.
1,000 pieces of
No, no,
information.
If what this is saying is voting shall be standing unless an alternative is approved at the town meeting members. So you go to the
That-
minutes
So-
from the meeting and where the first thing was that
And
there
you've
was.
already lost 95%.
Okay, so just say at the beginning of the meeting.
Well, I
That's what
actually,
happens.
Well, but it doesn't say that. Thing.
I actually don't think it is supposed to say at the beginning of the meeting. This is about how does all town meetings operate. I think if you once pass a bylaw that you said, this is how we're doing voting in town meeting going forward, then that would sufficiently meet this clause. And you do it. Now, that doesn't address Nikki's point, but
And I think the broader point too is why are we establishing how people can vote at town meeting? Why don't we just say town meeting establishes the way they're gonna vote?
This is giving.
Why does the charter need to do that? Why does the charter need to say stand up versus sit down versus raise your hand?
I would say raising the hand should be the default.
But that's not
But
the
no,
question.
that would be in the bylaw. This is just giving, this is very general.
it's
It's
because
just
the
saying,
special act said.
yeah, right, it's a special act.
Okay, all right,
So-
fine. Maybe
So we're
but-
taking the special act and putting it in here.
No, I understand. I'm just like taking a step back in the meta reality of
Yeah.
this moment and saying, why does the charter need to dictate whether we stand, sit, raise our hands, stand on our heads, call out, use an electronic voting device? Why can't we just say town meeting decides how they're gonna vote?
Because we have this in the special act.
So,
Right, but we could, by
Well,
passing
this
this,
is
it will
the
repeal the
special
special act.
This would replace
Yeah,
the
that's what
special act.
replace it. So she's right. Like
Yeah.
we could potentially
Sorry, I
remove
didn't say
those
this 6 months
statements.
ago,
In order to
How
not
until they
have
go down
that.
the record votes.
I mean, then I guess the question is, how, are the rules of how town meetings operate that are already existing in the state legislature?
Is there anything that Robert knows about that?
Robert's rules and, others give the moderator authority to say how we're voting.
Right.
If we can have by a voice vote. Yeah, whatever.
I just think it's,
This is, well, this is
It's
part
the
of this,
moderator's job to make sure the vote is.
part of this is
Tell me that.
explaining how government works. This is
my
right.
town meeting votes and they have to have a majority or 2/3 or 9/10 or whatever.
Right. We don't explain how a committee has to do the voting.
Well, how about the roll call? You get rid of all of that?
No, because there is stuff that talks about Robert.
I'm just saying, this is the same principle. If you're gonna be talking about roll call, and you're saying the town moderator, that the town meeting has the ability to approve alternative. I guess,
No, I
Something
get your
in the
point.
charter replaces the special act.
right, I got that,
So whatever you want, put here now.
Yeah, and I think the roll call is different just because it's essentially like the difference between the vote itself and how the vote is cast. And I don't think that the charter needs to prescribe how the vote is cast. Does that make sense? Like the particular methodology by which the vote is cast. The
What if
roll
you wanna
call,
change-
yes,
What if you
because
want to change the number of people required for a vote?
that, I think,
Then you can't do it this
that's
year.
in the charter.
It's in the charter, it's locked.
It,
And we've talked about this a lot, so I really am sorry for like not thinking about this before, but like the more I think about it, the more ridiculous it seems that we have to tell, like, say in the charter, like, we've made decisions about what to put in the charter.
Yeah.
Right? And we've been really thoughtful about what things we should be putting in here. And so standing up versus sitting down feels like it doesn't rise to that level.
Don't agree with that.
Okay,
I didn't even get it. Thank you.
Is there the possibility we can change it to, raise hands as a default as outlined with the current language?
or
Just saying
I'm
that-
saying, get rid of it and then just saying, town meeting will determine the method. Don't say whether it's
Probably could.
raise hands, standing up, just the town meeting will,
And Robert's,
By-
Robert's
by
rules
bylaw?
talks about how to vote.
well, you could put it in here.
I know, but in the charter, we can say that town, the method of voting shall be determined. The method of voting at town meeting shall be determined by bylaw.
No,
By
by
the
the town meeting, by the
By the
body.
body.
And then each meeting,
You go through the same thing.
you go
Well,
through the same
I
thing.
would
which you
hate
do
to
anyhow
create
without
something where
saying.
you have to determine the method of voting at each meeting.
Well, we do.
But can it be
Right, but you
determined
do
by,
because of the existing special act, not because it's a good idea.
Yeah,
what about it being determined by,
There may
by
be,
vote, subject to any bylaws? Subject to
Lovely.
any limitations in the bylaw? I do feel like you're gonna have a bylaw
complicating it.
about electronic voting. You might have a
Right.
bylaw
Yeah.
about,
Right.
for example, the people who are participating remotely, how they can vote. So that is gonna be, so it would be the bylaw, it's determined by vote of town meeting, but it's subject to any limitations, or subject to any bylaws.
The method of voting will be determined in a bylaw. I mean,
But then
we'll
we're
just take it all out. I agree with,
it should be determined by the body, but I don't know if we should say it should be determined by the bylaw. Determined by the body or a bylaw or something like that, because
Yeah.
then we're saying we can't enact this charter until a bylaw is created to tell town meeting how they're voting,
right,
right?
yeah, I mean, we need, yes. So what she said.
So the method of voting at town meeting shall be determined.
By the body,
By
don't say the body, what do you say?
town meeting members.
Yeah. By a vote of the town meeting members, right?
At every town meeting? Or whatever we
Of
accomplish.
meeting members.
We're not saying how,
Let her
what
write
was
it out.
accomplished is, we're not
Let her
saying.
write
Um, But are we going to
We're
say,
just going through a different charade.
um, or by bylaw?
Or
Right. So
by bylaw.
I think the way out of this problem is either we don't talk about voting, or if we do, we allow town meeting to pass a bylaw that defines how it looks. I think that's the smartest.
By
that's my-
town meeting or by bylaw. I
Yes.
think if you have that, then you have.
Yes, because
you
then
have-
if I see, in the moment you need town meeting to get through yes.
Well, you already have a bylaw on the books, so isn't most of
But
the,
we need to recognize that.
so, okay.
It also
and
means
then-
you can change it when you don't like how it's
Well,
going.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be electronic and there may be some times where you're actually gonna start off with people standing up because you wanna, I don't know. Let's get out the ups. That's your point. Like, we shouldn't say with your raising your hand or standing up. Let's just say the town meeting will determine it.
Often.
At the-
As up
We
to
don't have to say that.
the town meeting can determine.
Okay.
So then
Or
in
by
the next,
bylaw.
the next sentence, where if 7 or more members shall indicate that they question the vote, we can cross out by raising their hands.
Yes,
Because that's question the vote after the vote is announced, then a roll call shall be taken and the votes recorded in the journal. The moderator may, in the moderator's discretion, direct that any vote be taken by the roll call.
Yep.
Which, is the case. The next thing I wanted to talk about is, one of the things that Russ, and Matt pointed out is that, I'm trying to find out where this is.
This is the moderate authority recognized at 2/3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Mass General Laws has some information about, in the event of certain votes, a town may decide by bylaw or a vote not to take account and record the vote if a 2/3 vote of town meeting is required by statute. So for example, if it's very obvious in the event of a 2/3 vote that, you have everybody but one person, you can choose not to take a roll call vote. So they, wanted to put that into the bylaw. And instead of just putting that little part about the 2/3 vote, I thought you needed all the language. So I put in the language from the Mass General laws that said, if a 2/3, 4/5, or 9/10 vote of town meeting is required by statute, the count shall be taken and the vote shall be recorded in the records by the clerk. Provided, however, that the town meeting may decide by bylaw or vote not to take account and record the vote if a 2/3 vote of town meeting is required by the statute. And provided further that if the vote is unanimous, account need not be taken and the clerk shall record the vote as unanimous. So this comes from Mass General Law. Although we said in the beginning that the moderator moderates pursuant to Mass General laws, this brings that section into the section where we're talking about roll call votes, just to make it clear that that part is being assumed. Yeah.
One alteration that maybe got lost in all my word salad to you. What I noticed was that the bylaw in Article 2, Section 4 states explicitly that the moderator may declare an obvious result of a 2/3 vote without the need to take account. So the way I interpreted all this was the state law says when it's this situation, the town can decide if the moderator can do that.
Mhm.
Our bylaw is sort of activating that and saying, hey, our moderator can do that.
Yeah.
And what I noticed was that was missing from the charter. So I didn't know if that needed to be there. So
Okay.
if you've added the Mass General language,
Okay.
you're still missing the activation portion that says, by the way, we think a moderator can do that.
Okay, so
Don't worry, town council.
can you
tells-
point that, which the bylaw part of it? I have the Mass General Law reference, but where's the
The
bylaw?
bylaw is in Article 2, Section 4.
Oh, I see at the top there.
I'm all over in section, how many sections?
So
It's 811.
I'm referring to the bylaw.
So would you rather
I think we could simplify it.
put in the bylaw language, which is on matters requiring a 2/3 vote by statute, the moderator may declare the obvious result without the need to take account.
I think
That's
that's what you
yeah.
want to say.
Yes, and then we can simplify it.
Okay,
Because then
so I'll take
you
out
have to state
the-
law yourself.
so I'll take out here, red part. And put in, this is very intimidating doing public typing. I'm not gonna put in the specific reference in case it changes.
Okay. So. That resolves that.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move on.
Do we want to put in the part, however, a town meeting member may challenge this result? That second
No
part of
need
that.
to put the word of, all of, just all of members.
You're talking about,
With
We're gonna-
It's in the
someone
bylaw.
else-
I'm just gonna finish off the paragraph of the bylaw.
Yeah, right.
oh, right, I see.
I have a question, and maybe I'm missing, I'm not, but in D, it references section 216E. And what I'm looking at doesn't have an E. That is 216. And I think it's.
Can you
referenced-
tell me in which,
Stop, there in D, and I think 216D is referenced more than once.
You see 216.
oh, and we changed the numbers, so the timing just from itself.
Yeah, there was an E under
216.
216.
A.
Yeah.
B, it's just a B.
Oh, man, that wouldn't,
Where's that?
Wouldn't that town meeting determine its own rules and order of business, including determining how it votes? But anyway, moving
Yeah.
on.
Okay, so no, I'm sorry, where does it refer now?
It says 216
E under
I think
D,
it's a typo.
And it should say 216B.
D and E, it's in. Under
Right.
12.
Wait, let me look at 216.
Oh, gee,
Yeah, I think it's,
okay.
yeah.
I see.
Oh.
E is the existing
Oh, 212.
voting, how to vote language. And lots of things are referring to it.
Oh, so maybe it's not even. I'm not sure. What if we said subject to, this charter?
Sure.
Unless otherwise provided by law, journal. As for proceedings as provided in section 210. I don't know if that's 210. I'm just gonna flag that. We have to make sure that we
Those
change some
references,
things
yeah.
and that they stand up.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So,
Conflict of interest is,
conflict of interest is the language that we approved, is in there.
I had something about F as well.
Okay,
Um, Yeah, so basically, I remember one night there were people wanting to speak on VHS and they were there for hours.
yes.
And, you know, town meeting would not shut up, basically. And, I feel like we should discuss the possibility of a motion to like yield time to citizens so they can speak on an issue and not have to sit through hours of discussion.
I agree, Corey, but I don't think that's a charter issue.
Okay,
I would say that that's something that I know has been raised up though. And so we need to kind of fix that, but I don't think that's something that we fix if you're okay with that.
yeah, no, definitely.
conflict of interest is the language we approved. Standing committees.
I have on the standing committees,
Oh, we have, yes,
I had a question. You say standing committee members shall be residents of the town of Burlington with the duration of their terms, not voters, not. It's just, that's one of the few places where we said just straight residents, not registered voters. Not voters.
yeah, and I'm not sure. I remember we had this discussion early on, and I'm not sure why we landed on residents. Are all of your standing committee members voters? Do they have to be registered voters? Or
Or a town
do you
meeting, you
have-
have to be a registered voter.
For standing, but your standing committees don't have to be wholly made up with town meeting members. There can be other people in there. I think that was, in order to include people who, may have fallen off the rolls or may not be eligible to be a voter. They might,
Somebody who was
School
there
committee
with
has
a
appointed
green
some
card or
things when
something
they
like that.
To be,
But they're not voters.
I've never checked. If they're a resident of the town and they want to be on Ways and Means or another committee, and I talk to them and they're reasonable and blah, 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 I appoint.
Okay, let's leave it residents. I
I've
withdraw.
never checked if they were, voters.
I withdraw.
okay. So, just one small change that, or small comment that we had was for section C. It says, the committee shall be assigned all articles that come under their subject matter jurisdiction before final action is taken. Does it make sense to say who assigns them these articles? Or do they take on the articles themselves? Does the moderator assign them the
No,
articles?
because
Does
the
it,
moderator doesn't necessarily even know what the articles
Right.
are.
right,
Yeah, they kind of rise up through.
It comes up through the committees.
so it's okay to be passive and
Yes.
Okay.
It is the job of the committee chair to know what's going on. But if,
In the absence of that,
yes, I'll
That's a
just leave
different
it at that. It's their job whether they do it or not.
Should
In
for
the
a,
first,
sorry,
in the first line of C, do we want to put town meeting instead of just meeting?
See,
such other
The first line.
committees as
The
the
town
meeting
committee as the
expedient.
meeting deems or as the town meeting deems?
okay,
and then in the third line where it says for a recommendation. It's just a long
Before-
sentence for a recommendation.
shall be assigned to make recommendations on.
That might actually, yeah, yep, I like that.
Okay, warrants.
So we just had a question here, and you talked about this already, what we have, the Article 2, Section 1.2 says that anyone, says any one elected town meeting member can propose a warrant article.
Correct.
You had mentioned 10?
No.
There's 10 citizens.
Oh,
Right.
10 citizens.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to make sure that we had that right.
Yeah.
The other, and that you think that's appropriate. It hasn't resulted in any, like, a million town meeting warrants articles that you have to deal with.
No.
Because, for example, like the whole select board would need to recommend one, where only one town meeting member.
Correct.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure that was being consistent. All right. We'll just kind of go through. I'm afraid, I don't know which ones I forgot to stop and ask you. Any other questions on warrants?
I have a question.
Yes.
So on C, it talks about special town meetings and notice, but it doesn't talk about sort of regular town meetings and when they have to be delivered. I mean, it talks in A about copies should be posted to the town, website, but not delivered to the place of residence. And then I would also wonder about the electronic. Was that considered deliverance?
Okay. So sometimes town meeting members happen more frequently or in between, and that's why, in your case, your special town meetings usually happen at your regular town meetings. In other cases, special town meetings come up in the middle of the year when there's no
And there still
others.
could be.
And they still could be, and that's why there's been the implication of you want to give it to their household, if it's a special one. Because they may not, they're not triggered to look for that. But
Shouldn't there be, isn't there an opt-in thing now or something that, I mean, if you don't want it physically delivered?
what would you like, we can make this however we think.
Maybe instead of delivered, sent?
I think we'll get the weeds again.
I wouldn't,
That's where the devil is.
I wouldn't want to mandate sending something to the place of residence in a charter though, because electronic communication methods are so prevalent. So I think it's important to talk about because I don't think that should be there. I think it should be delivered either electronically or physically or something like that.
Because the other thing they did is said, have people pick it up. So that was the other, it wasn't delivered, it was
Copies made available.
made available.
It needs to be more active than made available, but I think that's more on the.
I think it shall be issued is good.
So, and this is for the notices, yeah. Okay,
You got the warrants in A, right?
Right.
Shall be issued by the select board to town meeting members.
But C is not about.
And a
warrants.
copy, it just says issued. It doesn't say how, it just says issued, okay? So that could be all kinds of different ways.
Mhm.
So that check.
Yeah.
Right? Then the select board shall include the warrant for regular town meeting sessions, all subjects to which requested in writing to any elected town meeting member, the moderator in the school committee, blah, blah, blah. So that's again, doesn't say it's paper or electronic, it's general. And then notice of a special town meeting session shall be posted on the town bulletin board and the town website and delivered to the place of residence of each member.
what if we just say delivered to each member?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that would do it. Delivered, yeah, it doesn't say how.
It's then. And then the town moderator, that's your town, saying town meeting member, right? So you should probably say that there.
Okay,
So you strike and out of the moderator.
And then keep, and of the moderator at least 7 days.
and
Yeah. And, sessions, all subjects that are requested in writing by the elected town meeting member, the moderator, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it doesn't say, we're not saying the vehicle.
Right, but they're including in the warrant, so we're not specifying the vehicle of the warrant.
Right. Okay, are we good on that then?
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
all right. So,
Anything on referendum?
Well, just it's a run-on sentences, you know, I like run-on sentences, but that's
Yeah.
crazy. A,
Can we
B,
fix-
D.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, which,
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna do the referendum.
yeah, I think we kept the language pretty similar to what you had.
The last phrase is sort of a mile and a half away from
Yeah.
the solution.
Okay, so,
It's almost like a David Patterson. You gotta remember the whole thing and then it comes again. Oh, okay, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, you lose it.
I mean, it reads
Oh,
like,
one sentence.
it reads like Old English because it's so long, but I think that.
Pat, if you look at this, if you could break that into a couple of sentences, just so it doesn't appear to be one hugely long run-on sentence. In your judgment for both A and B, I think that would be helpful.
And perhaps D as well.
And B. Not changing any of the stuff, it just changes sentence structure, if you could just do that. And we'll let you do it, you know, what we're trying
Can you
to
just fix legal English, please?
do.
Yeah, gotta do it that way.
We prefer to do it.
This one.
Okay,
exactly.
okay, we'll assume she'll get that done. 216.
Sorry, I don't know what I did. Just, there we go. All
Okay.
right.
Anything else on 215 other than the long run sentences? How about 216?
It's the only thing in F that's pending AG. Yeah,
The what?
can doing,
Yeah.
can,
On the one before it?
If a petition is not filed within 14 days, the final vote of the representative town meeting vote for the representative town meeting shall then become effective.
Yes.
Oh, like pending AG.
yeah,
You need to say that?
I think it's
No,
just like,
because it's
oh,
retroactive,
The vote
actually.
is effective.
The
The
vote
vote
becomes
is
effective
effective on that date.
and then the AG decides that.
Some might be a bylaw, it might be a different kind of vote.
so we don't need to worry about the AG there, all right.
Okay, it's 216 bylaws. 217. I found 217 be the very confusing language there.
Okay, so let me tell you what it applies to. And then you can tell me if it makes it more clear or if there's a better way to say it. What this applies to is, it says the town meeting may adopt any standard code of technical regulations and hold a report by referencing them. Let's just say the state building code. So town meeting can say, we accept the state building code and everything in it, but they don't have to put that language into the bylaw. They don't have to put the whole code into the bylaw. They can just refer to it and then keep the copy of that state building code on file. So it's what it's saying is what it might adopt, fire safety standards and a fire safety code without putting the whole language of that code into the bylaw.
I think that's fine. I got kind of followed up on that last sentence, and adopting bylaw shall not be construed as to include changes or revisions made by the drafters of the code subsequent to town meeting. That's the part where I got
The
lost.
part is, so if you accept this code, you accept the state building code, and here's the rules of the state building code. And they change the code,
Yeah.
you
Then
have
you
not accepted those changes. You might decide, well, now I don't want to accept that. I want to keep this, so what if this is saying that adopting a code, you know, the 2017 building code doesn't mean that you're adopting any change that is ever made to that code.
So
feels
can
like
we
what-
say that?
But
I disagree. I think we should accept it. If the building code is changed, why?
Well, I'm using it as
I
an
know,
example,
but-
but there are other codes, you
But,
know,
you know, if some official code has been changed, why would we want to?
but I'm assuming it's something you're allowed to opt into or out to. If you opt into something in a certain way and it changes,
If the rules change, you have the opportunity
right,
to go back. So can we just say that in a simpler way, like, if the code adopted is modified in the future,
and say,
the town meeting must,
Jack loves this.
Adopt.
language. She thinks it's perfect.
I know,
I love it too.
I just think it's very confusing language.
It is.
So
It feels like the
adopting-
boilerplate piece.
adopting,
Yeah.
the
I
adopting bylaw
I
shall
agree.
not be
I think
construed
it should-
as to
leave
include
it.
changes or revisions made by the drafters of the code.
Yeah, she was like, what else would I?
What I would say. That's what-
Motion to
The
leave
town
it as
meeting
is.
votes.
There's no way you can convey that idea more simply.
Right.
I took out an
Okay.
and to make it two sentences.
Oh, good job. Okay, so that's perfect.
All right,
Okay, I am hearing strongly that we should leave the intent of it and leave it as is.
I think it's legally by necessity.
I'm wondering why we have to say we're gonna accept the standard code of technical regulation.
because you don't want to type it all up in
Right,
your
it
bylaw,
says,
No, we don't, why?
but you might,
What
I
is-
mean, there are a lot of state laws that that the town meeting may choose to adopt a certain state law. You can choose whether to adopt it or not adopt it. And if you want to adopt it and it includes a code, you don't have to type out.
Well, this, for example, I think there's a town meeting article that may be coming up this go around about a zoning article. And in the zoning article, it defines something according to MGL, blah, 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 blah. So you go to that and you see what it is. But if what this is saying is if they change that zoning article and rather than limiting it to these things, now they extended it to a whole lot of other stuff that we actually don't agree with, we have the opportunity to go back and not.
That's what the
Use that.
second half of this is saying.
Yeah.
What the first half is saying is they don't need to print the entire code.
Right, and because what they're doing now in the bylaw that's being proposed, it doesn't tell you what the code says. It just refers to the section.
And that's.
So this is allowing
That's
that
what
to happen, right?
Right,
So
and
now
it's
it-
requiring you to keep a copy of that code in the office of the town clerk. So if somebody wants to know what that means, they can look it up.
And the second one just puts people on notice. Oh, by the way, there could have been changes. So
So
that's on you to go find out.
So I guess I agree, we should just leave it.
Okay.
And I like your new sentence after the.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
218,
Required attendance, and that's, we haven't talked about that.
okay,
And that's the end of Article 2. Shoot.
okay, it's 8:30. Okay, you can keep going. I'm happy doing it, but I know, what do you want to do? I mean, if we don't power through, we got to come back next week because we cannot wait 2 weeks.
Power.
How much do we have to do?
Oh, yeah.
How much stuff?
You're on 2 out of
That's the rate
10.
we traveled tonight. We've got 3 more nights of this crap.
Well, we don't have 3 nights, so, we can go.
I can give you as much time as you need tonight. I don't know where.
Okay, people,
I'm good.
good.
I'm good.
Okay, let's go. But let's be,
all right.
let's be efficient in what we're proposing, okay? Let's remember.
Can we do that retroactively?
In that case, it's only 7:30.
Okay, okay, elected officials and boards.
Okay, any thoughts on the general provisions? We've gone through them fairly recently, so I'm
Yeah,
not.
I made a note on 3(1)(b).
Okay,
How do you deal with people entitled to vote if they're not present? And I think we discussed this, and I don't ever remember a resolution.
Where are you?
I'm in B.
Okay,
So you have to fill the vacancy, a candidate must receive a majority of the total votes of all members entitled to vote, just
Entitled
because
to
they're
vote.
not present. If they're still counted, if they're not present,
So
because they're
that
entitled
could
to
be
vote.
denying a quorum. If they're not present.
no, it just means what do you count their vote as?
It doesn't have anything to do with the quorum. It has to do with, you know, if
Whether the vote.
if 3 of 5 members are there. I mean, if only 3 or 5 members are there and there's a quorum.
Two are not there are entitled to vote according to this language.
Right. So you need to have a majority. You need to get to a majority.
So if it's
Of the
2-1, you
combined
didn't
boards.
make it. If the 3 are there, vote 2-1. You didn't have a vote.
Correct.
So is that clear?
It seems clear to me. I just want to be sure that that's the intent, right?
It was
So
clear enough for me to flag it.
if we have just a concrete example, so planning board has a vacancy. Select board and planning board have to get together. Together, they have 12 members.
They have 11.
There's a vacancy, so there's only
There's a vacancy, so this.
Oh, okay,
but the seven's gone.
Good, thank you. So together, there's 11 members.
You
Let's
need
say
6 votes.
3 of the planning board members don't show up, so it's 3 planning board members and 5 select board members. So 11 people were eligible to vote. So you need 5 people
You
to
need
vote.
6.
Six.
You need 6 people to vote in the affirmative.
Correct.
So even if you have, let's say, I don't know, 3 select board members and 2 planning board members, that's only 5. Then no appointment is made. You have to go back to the drawing board.
No, you have to go back and try to get more people into the,
You have to go back and try to get more people.
Get
to
people
show up
to
to the
come.
meeting. Can we compel them with the 5 people?
So the question
Yes.
is, but can the person be zooming into the meeting?
well, that's a legal,
That's-
yes,
That's a rule of the,
Yeah, that's a
yes, yeah, so that's a yes.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'm good.
Okay,
I have a
Anybody
question,
else?
yes, on A, eligibility. So it's 10 days, 10 days feels short. I mean, someone's on vacation, they go to Hawaii, whatever.
For 12 days.
Is that typical? 10 days?
We're
When they're
Last
January.
May,
So
last second.
in this,
sworn in within 10 days of the election.
And you have to be sworn in person, I think it says somewhere.
Is it typical?
I'm not sure where we got to 10 days on this one. But it's, you know.
That's 10 days would be 10 business days, right?
Well, it's defined.
So, but this is only in the limited circumstance where this person already has an office and they have to decide whether they're going to be sworn into their new office and get rid of. So this is just talks about and the new elected official who already has another
Yeah.
elected office. So they only have 10 days to choose. So it's different from the general requirement
Oh.
of the general requirement of how long you have to be sworn in. This is just a very specific circumstance.
I like the limits, how long that can be in a weird situation.
Because you don't want that hanging open.
Okay, thank you.
Mike had a question, is there nothing here about posting requirements? Want to consider, and I think,
And we had talked about, we were gonna
Yes.
do all that in bylaw and steps.
Recommending.
Look into that in more detail.
but do we not want to say something allude to that, or did we already vote me down on this? So, I mean, I kind of like having a requirement about that, you know, that general media stuff.
Mhm.
That when there's a vacancy, I'd like to see that in here, that it needs to be posted on whatever it is we use in our definitions, and it escapes me at the
Well, we
moment.
can copy and paste from the town meeting post.
Yeah, kind of that same sort of thing, but I think we should come out strong on that, because that has been an issue.
Local news media.
Local news, thank you very much, local news meeting.
we're posting it on the board, local,
Town website.
Yeah.
Website, local, those 3 things, use the same wording. Yes,
So
that's a transparency, visibility.
the
get more
select board
candidates.
or its designee shall post
I'm gonna get you the language that we use to select.
vacancies. Shall post notice of such vacancies. Um, on,
On the bulletin board outside the town clerk's office.
which we changed to town
Town bulletin
bulletin
board.
board.
On the town bulletin board. And yeah, I'm looking at old language,
Yep.
sorry. On the town's website,
And
and then whatever the language was for it.
Local media.
local news media.
At least one local news media.
Thank you.
Medium,
Media,
So
not rare.
not media.
All right, straight, conflict of interest. And then we go to the select board,
Select board,
composition in terms of office. The first note I have on the select board is 32A4.
3, 2, A.
There was a discussion, 32A4, and those should be
It's actually,
I'm sorry. 3-2B4, I'm sorry, B4, sorry. Okay, and I put some language up here. Russ and Matt pointed out that in the previous bylaw, the town administrator, it didn't belong in that section where it was, but essentially the town administrator, there was some sort of that the town administrator could not appoint to boards and committees, which they don't appoint to anyway, anyone who was not a registered voter of the town. And because it's the select board that makes appointments to appointed boards, I put that in here just for your discussion. At a meeting a couple of meetings ago, we talked about residency requirements, and there seemed to be a general sense that you were going to leave that to the bylaws to deal with. But there's also, this missing piece that some of you wanted to discuss. If it were in the charter, where would it go for appointed boards? So we put that in 4, which is where the select board makes appointments. And
you want to add language that says,
and I wrote, this is not even, I'm not making a recommendation. I'm just saying this is where you might want to put language. Unless otherwise required by mass general laws, bylaws, or by town meeting vote, all appointed members of multiple member bodies must be registered voters of the town. You could also say must be residents in line with the other, or either one of those. It's just a suggestion for a placeholder that if you wanted to put that language, that's a place to put it.
All right, and
And in your comment, it came from a town administrator.
yes, there is a section where the town administrator is given authority to appoint things that aren't otherwise specified.
Right.
And it didn't have a residency requirement, but the bylaw did.
Yeah.
So that's what I noted was that.
Right,
So
you know, the
this-
difference, so instead, it didn't
Yeah,
belong
I
there,
gotcha, because the town administrator
because that
isn't
was,
doing that.
right,
okay, so
so
have it here.
yeah, so if it belongs anywhere, it belongs here. It can be silent, you can leave it totally up to the bylaw. Or, this is kind of a soft peddling, saying unless otherwise required by mass general laws, bylaws. or by
Sense and
town
intent.
meeting. Right. And then, you would go look at the bylaw and find out,
I think I'd recommend we change it to residents,
to kind of match the ad hoc,
Yeah.
match the,
match the language, so we're kind of using the same language, and there's an out. If there's any bylaw that's going to specify one thing or another.
So we did, however, formally vote to stay silent on this matter in the charter.
I think that was for the elected boards we talked about.
That was for like conservation
For
commission.
appointed,
Yeah, that's a point.
Yeah.
we talked about that, which is why I made
If we
this like,
discussed it and voted to leave it silent, then let's leave it silent,
Yeah, that's,
or else we will be here for forever.
yeah.
If we've discussed things, let's not go into the weeds and go back to them.
Let's take
just say,
that last
"Good,
sentence out
It's
then.
done.
Okay.
Move on, please.
I just wanted to put it in there because it was raised.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, we'll take that out. Okay,
All right, next, anything else on that page?
yes, there was a question again about the whole added bonds. and,
Hold the bomb.
the whole bond thing.
Yep.
So the previous, we are, right now, there's two places, and so right now, we're looking right below, we're at number 5. See the red select board? Right below where we were before.
Yeah.
So the question was raised, the bylaws currently say that the town administrator shall provide a bond. However, pardon?
Shall execute the law.
Shall execute bond. So currently, that hasn't been done in a long time. It's rather, and in general, I can tell you that at least for the town administrator position, that's been replaced by professional liability insurance and other
Right.
methods.
So it's not necessary.
So it's not necessary. However, if you wanted to include this language about bonds, the current language that we approved merely said the select board shall establish the amounts of fidelity bonds for those town officers whom the Mass General laws require. And I just added the words whom the select board or Mass General laws require. So that to imply that, should the select board decide that someone needs a bond, they have the authority to do
I think
that.
that's great.
I also, the one other aspect of this that when I read it, I don't know if I'm reading it wrong. The select board shall establish the amounts of a bond. Doesn't mean they execute a bond or get the bond or whatever the word is. So in the other language,
Right,
in the
they
old
require.
language, it said the town administrator executed it based on the values determined by the select board. So when I see this, I think, are they just determining an amount as opposed to saying, we should say something like the select board shall establish and execute,
Or obtain.
or obtain, or whatever word you want to
Well,
use.
Yeah.
Like,
It says they're required by Mass General law. So they're required. I gotta go get one.
So here's the
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
it's the individual who's required to execute it
Right, it's not-
and go through the process. The select board just says how much it has to be for.
okay, this is where I have no idea even how that works. I was just noting words didn't match.
Yes, so
Seemed like there was a
when
problem
we get
there.
to it, and I'm just gonna point this out now, I'm doing this in order. But I put something in the town administrator section that says, if required by the select board, the town administrator shall execute a bond.
Okay. So that's where basically on both sides, you're saying the select board, in addition to Mass General law, the select board can
And
decide it wants a bond.
on some, on any position.
Right.
And then it can. also-
Is that language in number 5 sufficient to cover the other half of not just establishing the amounts, but also
Making sure that.
making sure that the person executes the bond? Let's say not even the town administrator, because that is broader even than that.
Can't they do that already?
I don't
mean,
know.
that's it's implied in their powers. But
So I guess,
hear what you're
okay,
saying.
here's a good example, Russ, and I'm glad you hung with this because right now it's within the select board's thing to kind of do that to get the bonds. And we've had a bylaw that says the town administrator should have a bond, and it hasn't been done. Like nobody has been overseeing to make sure that was followed through on. So I think what he's suggesting is let's give this select board the authority and the responsibility for determining who and assuring that the bonds actually happen is, I think, what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Exactly.
So it's not just the determination of who, but also the responsibility that those bonds actually happen.
And not just the determination of amount. And who.
Right. Well, that's why I said, and the fact that it actually happens. Right.
So do you want to start it with the select board may require? No,
No, that's their business. Why don't we have to put it in the charter?
Well, if it's a part of their authority, that's where it goes, right?
Right.
If so, if we're
Authority
giving them
versus
the
responsibility.
authority. Well,
Both.
Well, they've got both. It's both. Yeah. It's very simple. It's like we're saying that according to this, a responsibility of the select board is to establish who's going to get it, how much, and the fact that and make sure they actually do it. That's basically,
But there was discretion in the way you said it.
Not, they can determine who gets it, yes, discretion.
The select board,
So it's not
may
just town
require,
officers.
Town officers,
But wait a minute. So town officers. So I work in the treasurer's office.
Yeah.
I'm not an officer. Does that bond, does that cover, when I steal something? Versus the treasurer, the town officer?
generally the bonds are only required for
For
like the
officers.
treasurer and
and then the
clerk.
liability.
And the liability insurance kicks in for the others, because most. Other than those people in those high positions, they can't sign checks, they're not touching money, they're not moving money, they don't have the authority to sign off on the movement of money. In general. But,
So would we want to say for our town officers whose responsibility includes managing finances for the town?
No, I think, no, let them
I
determine.
just, then I think like.
because for
obviously-
example, the town clerk is required to have a bond as well. So,
Yeah.
and that's not.
I just think like, is the select board then gonna have carte blanche that require a bond from every single officer of the town?
They
I don't
probably
think
wouldn't because it's gonna cost money.
It's gonna cost you money. I don't know how.
It's gonna cost the town money.
The town
That's
pays the money
favorable.
for it.
Got it.
Need,
Okay.
yeah. They can say, you need one.
Yeah, I don't understand this whole concept.
So it's
You don't need to
kind of-
explain it to me. I just like.
It's compensated control, so not everyone needs one.
Not everybody needs
So-
one.
The select board may require town officers to,
Obtain.
let's see,
I like, yeah, the select board shall establish the amounts of fidelity bonds for those town officers whom Mass General Law,
yeah, I'll just say,
Yeah.
I'll start it with, I'll just adding a sentence. The select board may require town officers to execute, a bond.
If you want to match the
Yeah.
bylaw language, it was,
I'm gonna, yeah.
execute a bond in favor of the town of Burlington for their faithful performance of their duties in such sum and with such surety or sureties as may be fixed by the select board. That was the language that used to exist on the town administrator explicitly, but
Thought it was, a little shorter than that, but.
The first half of that.
yeah,
I realize that's wordy, but it's like, if you break it up, it's like,
Taken care of by the second
Um,
section.
yeah, let's, oh, it says, the town administrator shall, well, we can just say for the faithful performance of his duties, and the next part is the next sentence, so, execute a bond,
not his duties.
right,
There.
favor of,
Officers' duties.
of the town, you know, maybe. For the faithful performance of the officers' duties. And then we say the select board shall establish the amounts of fidelity bonds to those town officers when the select board or mass general laws requires to be bonded.
there you go.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next.
All right, the next thing I have, so I'm gonna go and ask you what you have next.
Okay, anything more on page 17 or can we go to 18? 18 it is.
We're going through the elected positions. We've done these pretty recently, so there's probably not big changes. But, we have the moderator position, the board of assessors.
I have one tiny point on the Board of Assessors.
Yep.
On 3.4A, it says the terms shall be arranged so that at least one term, but no more than 2 terms shall expire each year. There's only 3 of them, so I suggest changing it to just 1 term expires each year.
You don't
So
need more
that,
than
oh yeah, so that one term,
expires each year.
that's great, shall expire each year. That's fantastic.
Good catch, yay.
All right, wonderful. Okay, school committee is next.
Sorry, I have a question.
I'm sorry, thank you.
So vacancies, we talked about vacancies with the select board and the town clerk, but not the town moderator. If I have that right.
That's in the town moderator section. We moved those that's in the town moderators section, how they replace them, how they're replaced.
How the moderators replaced?
Yes.
There's at least the deputy moderator stuff, right? Yeah, and that.
I'm looking.
But, they, if not, we should, if any changes should be. in
Oh,
that
moderators
section.
right above it. Powers and duties. I'll see if you can.
Founding member,
It's in Robert's rules. You elect the town meeting election.
Well, we could put it in here so that it's,
well, we did move the clerks into the clerk section and for vacancies, we said except for the clerk and the moderator.
Yes.
so it should have something about the moderator, right?
There's the, action in the town moderator section, it talks about, it doesn't talk about permanent, it talks about times of absence and disability. And the deputy moderator, steps in. It doesn't say if.
Where are you?
I went all the way back to section 2.9
Two nine.
and take a look at what it says. But you're right, maybe we should put something in about the,
Vacancy.
vacancies for the moderator.
Yeah.
But that should go, I would say, in section 2.9 and not here. I can do that now, or
You're just gonna fill it in, right?
I'm just gonna kind of
Make a
make
note once you put it in there.
And so, let's talk about the vacancies, because usually if it happens midterm, town meeting chooses.
Yeah.
And that's already in there.
Yeah.
And let me put it up again so that you can see if you feel
Well,
that.
that's okay. You just go to page 10.
Nice.
The moderator's absence or disability, in case of the absence of disability of the moderator. Town meeting shall elect from among its own membership a temporary moderator to act during the absence or disability.
So if I can't do it,
So-
deputy moderator does it.
Right, but,
But
you
that's
know,
if
as
you're-
Nikki pointed out, there's a statutory, like the other ones, there's a statutory, provision that voters would fill it at the next election.
Right.
So, but you don't have to wait for 3 terms. So maybe I think we need to put something in here, and I will do that.
Okay.
2.9, and I'll make it 2.9C. And I'll make it, I'll put it in 2.9A about, being filled at the, I don't have the language right now, but
Okay.
filled at the next regular election. Okay, because you're not gonna have a special election to fill the,
Yeah.
when you have one every year.
Right.
All right. All right, so we'll go back down to where we were, and I'm sorry if I'm giving anyone a,
Just a question on structure, and don't shoot me here, but
Where,
you're talking, I'm on section 3. We're talking about each one of these, and then we have filling the vacancies as like we go, okay, general provisions is 3.1, then we talk 3.2. In 3.2, we talk about filling the vacancy for select board. Wouldn't one assume that when you're talking about moderator, you talk about filling the vacancy of moderator there, not where you just put it?
well, we originally did that, and then we talked about moving it back in because, you know, the town moderator has their own section, and, you know, you'd be going back and forth as far
Or
as,
should we just refer to? I mean, it just feels like it doesn't, it's not,
select board vacancies done
It's not
different than other
consistent.
vacancies.
huh?
The
right,
select board vacancies done differently than other vacancies.
so we haven't,
It's gonna be an election.
let me find this.
Okay.
Are you saying you just want to reference it?
I just am saying reference, yeah, vacancies will
That's a good idea.
be filled according to 2.9C. I mean, it's
That can't hurt.
just
Oh, okay.
referring
Oh,
them back.
in the moderator section.
Yes.
Okay,
because that's, we talked about on select board, it's not parallel form or whatever that term is.
And we'll, that looks better.
Alrighty. Okay, how about, school committee, page 19, anything?
So on school committee, the only thing that was added here is there was a request to talk about having the superintendent be subject to the same review that the town administrator is subject to. And so I used the exact same language, that the school committee shall annually evaluate the performance and adopt a written set of procedures and criteria forming the basis of the evaluation. And that a copy of the evaluation shall be provided to the superintendent and shall be retained in accordance with Mass General laws and any relevant town human resources policies. So it's mirroring what we had for the town administrator and put this into the school committee section.
I'm wondering if such reviews are public or if they even can be.
So
They're public.
They're public?
Yeah.
Could we?
we don't, well, I think what we, kind of the language we settled on is that the information is given to the superintendent. If somebody wants to make a public record request, then it's going to go through the legal process of deciding of what parts can be and what parts cannot be released under the public records law.
So we'll be, just leave it as is and
I
let them know.
I do have a note or a question about one, this is probably redundant, but the school committee shall adopt a written set of procedures and criteria, so that's from the state, that's from DESE. Does that matter? The school committee doesn't develop it, I guess adopt is fine.
Adopt, we're not saying develop. it's adopt.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Okay. Planning board, anything there or page 20? Looks like Mike had something on 20.
I don't have page one, because I did section.
Yeah, I'm on page 24.
No, I know, I got
Same place.
Okay, oh, that's okay. Okay, so we have 6 members on the trustees, the library trustees,
Right.
and somewhere we have wording that committees, aren't they supposed to be an odd number?
We do unless otherwise, you know, stipulated. So, this is just an opportunity. If there's never been any problems with an even numbers, for some reason, library boards, you know, are the ones that tend to have even numbers in places. Sometimes it's a problem, sometimes it's not. I know you were going with the let's leave everything status quo. And maybe this is just something, when you put in your recommendations, for all the boards and committees to be looked at, this is a note.
Nina, you want to make a note about, the general recommendations to all boards and to should have an odd number as the potential recommendation in our report. Are we ready for the next page? Under B, the management of the town libraries, we have one,
section you want.
same.
Okay. So-
39 B.
Oh,
We
wait, I'm
have
sorry.
plural for libraries, of which we only have one.
Today,
Yeah.
I need more.
Okay.
who knows? You can predict what the future holds, Betsy.
We're gonna eventually absorb Woburn. We're gonna have 2 libraries.
Do you have,
No, we've
you don't
got
have any
libraries in the
traveling
schools.
libraries or, you
But they
know,
don't
little
run-
libraries in your senior center or anything like that?
Yeah,
No,
not that's run by the library.
Well, and if we just say library, that will include the library as a whole. Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great.
Also, I had wanted to say on 3.9A, something very similar in my other points about, Board of Assessors. Could we just say no more, like, exactly 2 terms shall expire, each year?
Yeah, can I just find them for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Let me see.
We're on,
We're at
39.
3.4.
A,
The
Okay.
terms. There's 3 members, term shall be arranged, so Oh, we already have Board of Assessors.
Three.
Oh, no, I was
Here it
saying three
Oh,
point nine. I was referring to
I'm so
3.4.
sorry.
It's all good. Long day.
No, wait, now we're looking at, I'm sorry, which board?
The term, the library,
Oh, for
but
the
they,
library, but we, okay.
but they have 6 members. So
So
they're
you
saying
can
you
say
can't have
for
any
that-
more.
Yeah,
Two
they all
expired.
Be arranged so that 2
Yes.
terms expire each year.
They all elected.
Yes.
No more than 2.
No more than 2 gets you there.
Okay, okay.
Try to figure out how we do it.
The way we did it was we copy pasted for every single one.
Right.
That's how we
Okay.
did it.
Great.
Fair.
Recreation Commission, I don't know why that's in italics. That was.
Oh, it just, because we just never changed it back
Okay.
the way it was.
And there's no term limit on the rep from schools and I've lost my place. Where
Appointed each year. I voted that board,
so they can stay there forever.
as long as they're reappointed by their board.
I don't think we have any term limits.
Okay, there's another copy. We have decided to take. All right, constables, town clerk. Anything on, any more on Article 3, or are we on to Article 4?
Oh, wait a minute. So I'm sorry. So 310, I know I have something else, 310B.
Yeah,
So it talks about maintenance. Where did I see that? To carry out, administer, facilities of the town. So why did I
Yeah,
say
where's that?
maintenance? Yeah, hold on. I said M, you know, where I got M, but
administer recreational program.
I just said, internal or external. And when it talks about maintenance, I don't know where I see maintenance, I'm sorry. Sorry.
And
You're
administer.
wondering if maintenance should be included in there.
I
perhaps,
I thought there was maintenance.
I think
that
that
work
that's
was
more
done.
of a, you know.
Yeah.
Day-to-day.
Yeah, okay, I'm using it. All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we're moving on now to,
The town
Article
administrator.
4, town administrator.
Okay, there's the appointment. The first thing I want to talk about is the qualification section. So I broke this down a little bit. You have one kind of block paragraph. And I broke this down so that we could talk about the different sections. I thought it would make
Yeah.
it more clear. And I
Sure,
didn't,
you didn't change the language. You
I
just-
didn't change the language until we get to D, but I just broke it down so that we could, it would be more visible. So, and then when we get to D, I added the language, I gotta take that away, that we discussed. At the discretion of the select board, the town administrator may be required to furnish a bond for the faithful performance of duties, the premium to be paid by the town.
Okay.
Okay, just to make that work. The other thing, one note that Mike had, for 2 qualifications. Just to ask you, B, what I've now named B, is the person shall not have served in an elective office in or for the town of Burlington for at least 24 months prior to the town administrator's appointment. That's what you have now. We just wanted to ask you if you could foresee a circumstance where there was a local person who was very qualified, who happened to also have served on a board, if there's a reason that you would want to make them ineligible, or if you think that it's just a good thing because they're not, making decisions in a board, anticipating later being a town administrator. So there's 2 sides of that. And, we just kind of made a note to make sure that we had talked about that and that was something.
What do
that
other
you-
towns do?
I haven't seen, I don't know. I don't know if we've looked at that issue that closely in other towns. I can look up what
2
other
years
towns
seems
do.
like a long time to me. A year seems, because you say, okay, what decisions could the person make that's gonna give them an advantage? But this is what we have now.
It's what you have now, and that's
Okay.
fine to keep it. I,
What if they were a select board member?
Right.
right,
Probably the most
What's different,
egregious.
but what if you had a very astute member of the Ways and Means? we've been dealing with town finances for forever and departments and budgets and
That's to the point.
They're appointed, right.
this is elected.
Appointed is
It
not-
would be,
Well, they're an elected town meeting member.
you're right.
And we could say, with the exception of town meeting members or something like that, if that's the, you know,
And
Only one,
with the
um,
exceptions, I probably just get rid of it. It's a decision of the select board.
Well, no, this is a, qualification. Oh, I see, a qualification.
in false right.
And this is a this particular clause existed already.
It's in the
yes,
specialized.
I believe it was in the
It
special
must have
act,
been
because I
a
took it apart.
situation.
So my inclination is like, we have a lot of. There's a degree to which every change we make, we have to justify and argue. And the question here would be, we're removing a limit on a power or sentence, like we're freeing things a little bit when in the past it was restricted. So I lean towards leaving it the same unless there's a good reason that we feel like we should widen it. And that good reason would be, boy, you know, it seems like we're restricting our candidates for town administrator too much. Is that a thing we
I'm
think is
trying
happening?
to recall, I think if you go back to when we did some of this, there wasn't as big a collection of professional town administrators, right?
There were not as many then.
Yeah, I think.
So then wouldn't you want to
Like
have
we
not
had
had
an
this?
executive secretary, we didn't have a town administrator.
Yeah. I mean, there's some degree to which I look at this, I'm like, it makes sense to me, like, if they were doing something, like, why open the possibility of conflict of interest, essentially? So the harm of doing that is exactly this case where there's somebody who really fits, and now they can't do it. So then I'm like, if you're saying the pool is wider now than it ever used to be,
I think there are more professional town administrators.
then they are likely not to have triggered this, and so we have no reason to remove the limitation.
Okay, so I'm feeling, a sense in the room of leaving it. Is that a correct assumption on my part?
I'd add to that, assistant town administrators are in a role for a lot of years, and then they're promoted to the administrator, so, yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave that. Thank you for raising it.
Okay, great. So that was one set, and also I broke it down into sections and I think it makes it easier to read. So I just
I
wanted to
agree.
note that so
Thank
you
you.
can see it. All right, so, I'll just ask you any other questions with 4.2. So moving on to 4.3. I have something on 4.3D, but, so I'm going to ask if there's any questions before 4.3D.
Didn't Mike have a question? Mike,
I have,
he had a question about, does
yes,
this imply that they're all subject to 307 flag for council?
Yeah, that was, sorry, that was just a question about the clarity here. I know what you're trying to go for. And I just wanted to make sure that the way it was read by council, that was not implying that everyone was subject to chapter 31. That's only applying to those who are subject, not that everyone is subject.
Like,
yes. It was just a note to flag it for council to make sure that we weren't, in any way, changing anything about, you know, I don't know who in your town is subject to civil service. Sometimes the, fire is, but the police aren't, or the opposite. Maybe no one's subject to civil service, so.
The police side of them.
Fire too, I'm
Fire
pretty sure.
too.
Yeah,
They're
they are.
removed.
I think
So, if no one's subject to civil service, then it may be that the town attorney takes that out altogether. So it was a note on our part to let's flag it for the town.
Well, how did it get in there?
It was in your current language.
civil services removed in the 80s. I think it was in the 80s. So it makes sense that it
I
would. have been in that
remember, I
language.
remember
But
when.
do we need it now? Is that the question?
No, I was just
We may-
explaining why it might be.
And there are still some towns, in fact, a lot of towns will have one or the other, maybe the police and not fire, or fire and not police. So.
So we're gonna just leave this highlighted and ask Lisa Mead
Yes,
if we need that.
yes.
Okay.
My next question is in D. And that was just kind of a general question. Do we have, I don't know, I've done it.
Oh, I do have a question. The town administrator may not appoint, remove persons serving under the elected boards and committees, excluding the select board unless affected board or committee has approved the action by a majority vote during a public meeting. If somebody's going to fire somebody, it is not going to be part of a public meeting. It's going to be an executive session. So I think that public meeting is,
You reading C?
yeah, it's the last
Yeah,
sentence.
and I think that during a public meeting was added because somebody wanted to make that's one of our previous meetings. So I'm happy to take off the during a public meeting
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
That was added.
I think it's inappropriate to have that as a public meeting, quite
Yeah,
frankly.
they go in, they started
And they-
meetings and go into executive.
Right, and they can decide how they want to handle it, but for some reason that was added last time, one of the time, from one of our meetings. Okay, great. So we have a general question for D. And right now, names of person appointed to positions within the select boards, transmitted to the select board, and they have 15 days to accept the position, accept the person. They can waive the 15-day requirements. In some towns, do we want this 15-day period and this whole process to apply to all employees or just department heads? I think, whether or not the town administrator can, should there be a different process for rank and file as opposed to department heads, or should we leave it as is?
This is what it is now.
Essentially,
I will say that at the select board meetings, when somebody is appointed, nearly every single time, they
Waive
propose,
15.
they propose to appoint the person and waive the 15-day waiting period, almost every time.
They're gonna lose them.
So it's police officers, firefighters.
right,
But like DPW workers.
Yeah.
It's a matter of routine that they do it that way, so I just leave it.
Okay.
And there is a reason for the 15-day waiting period, right?
Right. If they have to do some type of a background. check.
Background check.
All right.
okay,
I'll leave that.
Right.
What's next?
all right.
If they have to get a bond.
The one thing that I wanted to flag, and when you go back, if you go to M, the town administrator or designee shall be responsible for use, maintenance, and rental for all town facilities and equipment except those under the care, custody, management, and control of the school committee and housing authority. We probably want to add library to this because under the library section, we gave them control of their facilities.
And that's the way it is in practice.
I don't know.
So I think that's kind of into the facilities department.
Right, DPW take care of all that.
I guess I was thinking about the rental part.
Rental maybe, but as far as taking care of the building.
So it says town administrator and designee,
So they could
they
designate.
can
that.
designate somebody in the library to do the rentals. I think we should leave it.
Okay, we just wanted to raise it up to make sure.
Do other people agree?
Do you want to?
So maintenance, I get back, maybe this is my M maintenance.
Yeah.
That's probably, yes. So maintenance is in internal maintenance or external?
Oh, the maintenance is not. So the town administrator or designee should be responsible for the maintenance. So it could be town administrator, yeah. Make sure it's mobile on.
So it's explicit, you're just asking maintenance. Exterior of the building.
The interior, if you like, the building needs to be fixed, yeah. I'm not telling you, I'm not telling you.
I'll just anybody else. Because we all I'm using one to that more. That's like stuff. But I had a question. Do you? I think it's going to say including schools when we mean including schools.
And I think Q, we wanted to include schools,
Including the schools?
Yeah. whatever language we've been using for that.
Including, I think we said the public
Yes.
schools are.
The school department or
School
school.
department.
Not public school. District, I'm like school, I think we said school department, or something general, whatever we use.
Okay. All right,
Hey, can we just,
a,
okay, point four, removal. That word removal is right in the center of that paragraph. Can you just add of the town administrator?
um,
I mean, it's like it's implied by the section. You see what I mean?
yeah, but you want me to add it to the removal in the middle of the sentence or at the end of the sentence?
I was gonna do it at the end of the sentence.
Okay.
Where are you doing that? You might be right on the title. No,
Over here,
just if we add it. Because it's under the town administrator heading, so removal makes sense there, but just in this paragraph. It would be either clarity that you're talking about. But I don't do like.
oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we can be going to what is it? Yeah.
I don't know.
Anything else? It's still the report, anything, but that.
Yeah.
And then add another administrative events. It's not in the administrative. He said,
Good.
no,
I'm so good at trying to get rid of that stuff.
so, okay. So next, we have a key clearance section for 5 vacancy. In the current, in the language you approved the whole vacancy removal, et cetera, bullet points. But we didn't cover short term, we had included for more than 2 weeks, and included in A, which talks about temporary absence. And in general, what other towns do is the town administrator will put on file with the town clerk saying, so-and-so's in charge if I can't be here, So they can file a letter with the town clerk and the select board designating a qualified individual to serve as the acting town administrator during any anticipated temporary absence not to exceed 2 weeks. And it's really unanticipated too, but maybe that's the stage. You need to have clerk. So this is giving you that what happens in the first 1 week. And oftentimes, usually 40 buttons, it's going to administrator best that, once they have a job, they'll say, oh, here's the person, and maybe the assistant town administrator will fill in the event that that's supposed to be. And then we have the review language that the only addition we made is, I think it was Betsy's suggestion that we include being retained, that not only that the evaluation is given to the town administrator, but that it's retained according to mass, in accordance with mass.
And then similarly, we said it's like lawyer requests a SIP.
If right, if it's in their file, to the extent that any document in a public, in a personnel file or otherwise would be subject to.
Would it make sense to post such a thing like a public copy on the website
No, that's just like
of the performance review?
this is generally, it may be subject to open records laws and exceptions, privacy exceptions, et cetera. So it's better to have it requested as a FOIA request, and then the lawyers can decide,
Some stuff.
they can redact it. There might be names in there, there might be,
You know, to keep us out of court.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
finance, I feel like we just went through a lot of this, so I don't really have anything new on it. We made the updates that we had talked about at our last meeting, but did anybody else have anything in the finance section that they want to bring up?
I think we went through this pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did this pretty recently. The administrative organization, we also kind of reviewed and made some amendments at our 8/11 meeting, so that's pretty new, pretty fresh. And reviewed.
I had. Oh, I know what it was. Uh, 1 on 5 school committee. Should we also reference that they're talking about provide the publication, the general summary, and all of the finance information? Should we say something referencing according to the budget calendar established, the established budget calendar?
So I think what we decided on that is we weren't 100% sure about, the school committee budget laws and regulations, and there may be some, that we probably have the town administrator giving the budget calendar, and sort of also require them to follow it. We thought it might be a bridge too far.
Okay, got it.
They have their own requirements to fill the things.
Oh, this is one we did talk about, on 5.7a. At least 14 days before the action on the budget article is to begin. I believe we said we're gonna say that 14 days prior to the town meeting, because we don't know what day the article's actually gonna be considered. It could be the first day, the second day, the fifth day. So I think that was just a miss that we needed to add.
I think the thinking may have been, if you say before the town meeting begins, if someone's late, town meeting can't begin. But if somebody's late and you say before the article begins, you just can't discuss that article for 14 days. So somebody's late for whatever reason, it delays town meeting.
No, we're just telling them they gotta get it in. They gotta get it in. It's not,
And if they don't,
then they
don't.
they
get
delay
demanded.
town meeting.
They have to do it late to, I don't know what they do, but whatever.
Right.
I just don't want to have to.
That, and I mean, that's why
It
the
doesn't
language
affect
was,
Whether it comes up at town meeting, Jack.
Honey,
It would not affect whether it comes up at town meeting. They might get reamed.
Yeah.
And, but it would not stop it from coming up at a town meeting.
well, that language does.
Well, no, it just says the documents.
It doesn't say or else.
It doesn't. It says it's the budget, it's the documents, and the budget message must be done before 14 days prior to town meeting. Not, it's the same concept. It's just, we're just saying before town meeting. Not because everything could happen on the same night. You don't know.
You just couldn't discuss that article, that budget.
I was just saying, I think we have mirror the language in B because B
Yeah,
already says.
We already
14 days
did that
before
one.
the
I know,
annual
that's why I said I
tax
think
rate.
oh
should
yeah,
have
we
done that.
had, I just didn't change it, but let's mirror
Yeah.
what was in B.
Yeah, right.
Before the, I
We
think we,
already agreed on it. We just didn't, the language.
and that's the thing, we said Springtown meeting. But we decided, and I don't know why this wasn't changed, we decided meeting, before the annual. That's the other thing, we don't use the word spring, we were talked about using the word spring, et cetera, but we don't, we used May.
Yeah.
Before the annual, I will say,
You don't need annual either. You can just say between the May town meeting.
Except it doesn't have to be in May.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the
right.
point.
That's why
It could
we
be in
did strike
June,
that.
it could be in April.
which is why we don't have to say which town, we know when the budget is being
The
done,
annual spring
so
meeting.
maybe we should just start silent on which one.
You can just say
Start of
before
town
town meeting, the commencement of town meeting.
Budget dot.
That's why we have the, before the warrant articles and in that sense, and then, 14 days before. All right,
So at risk of sounding like a broken record, I basically have the same question on every part of section 5. Can budgets be posted publicly on the website for people to look at the respective committees and like pages for them? So for instance, like the school budget committee, the school budget could be posted to the school committee page. The town budget could be posted somewhere, etc.
When are you asking? They are published when they have to be published for town meeting. Are you
Okay.
asking for a separate publication or?
Not necessarily. They're available like on a website already, like when they're published. That's good. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
should we leave that with the bylaws and to the,
It's never book that thick, but the is something.
right?
Okay, you good?
Yeah, just curious, basically.
Okay, so then capital plan. Anything on that or 5, 9, 10, 11, 12? About administrative organization. That's 6.
Already got 7.
Okay.
All right.
I'm rushing you all, Betsy, but
No, that's fine. Is there anything else 6? Let's, because if there is, let's,
And that's, B,
Yeah.
should bylaw be hyphenated? Bylaw organization B.
because we're doing that for everything else. Yeah. I think it's supposed
So it can replace,
Thank you.
it can replace.
Yeah, Control F.
Hey, what's your language?
So on the administrative organization, this is the town administrator consented to approve the select board and other affected elected multi-member from time to time prepare and submit representative town meeting recommended plans of organization. I was to this representative town meeting plans of organization. Is this a statute now? So as I'm reading this, if the town administrator, for example, wants to move their licensing group under human resources, does that mean they have to go to town meeting and get their approval in order to do that? Like it doesn't, I don't know that is that really how it should be? And is that a statute? Yeah, that's my question.
So,
It's A,
A1.
I, a single I. So if you read through this, and I had to read it like 3 times,
so that
I
should
think
be,
what it's saying is that town meeting
should be one.
can can veto a reorganization made by the town administrator.
but only if it's part of the charter.
So it's about the organization of town departments, not necessarily all the
Right.
functions.
No, town departments, so that if you're gonna reorganize a department, you're gonna put this department under that department. Because it's gonna be more efficient, it's gonna be blah, 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 right? Is this saying that in order for the town administrator to do that, even if it's on something of which they have authority over, that in order to do it, they have to get permission from town meeting? That's
You're gonna move cemetery from DPW to recreation. Is that something like that?
just pick your favorite, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yes, that it would need to go to town meeting in order to do it. Or something minor, like licensing isn't a big group, but I move that under I don't know where they sit now, but I made up HR because I knew that licensing didn't belong to HR. But you know, it's kind of like that kind of small
You're not
thing,
talking liquor license, you're talking dog license.
whatever kind of licensing. Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, is that what this is saying? And where did this come from? Is this what's happening now? If that's what's happening now and that's in the rules, then so be it. But if it wasn't, I don't know where it came from. It just kind of like got me as something that I didn't know about. It felt like overreach on town meetings, quite frankly. But
Oh, this is the one that's up or down. Excuse me, Bill. This is the one that's up or down.
Yes.
That I'm going forward to 4 or
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe
I'm
it's
trying
elimination.
I'm trying to.
If you took the water and sewer department and split it into two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The DPW is still doing the same thing. Is it really a reorganization?
well, yeah, it is technically.
If it's not defined in the charter, it doesn't come.
And if
doesn't
the
have- it
budget
has to be
is,
Defined by the charter.
if the budget is for each department to do certain
Yeah,
The
functions.
function
is-
has to be assigned by the
No,
charter.
If you read it,
No, the clause about the charter is saying you can do this, except if what you're doing is in contradiction to the charter.
right, because
However, that no function assigned by the charter to a particular department or may be discontinued or assigned.
assigned to another.
Right, so if you're doing a thing that's
It's not
nothing to
assigned
do
by
with
the
it.
charter, it doesn't matter.
Right, you're moving cemetery, I like that example, you're moving cemetery under HR. Right? That's a reorganization of a department that is not. There are no functions assigned by this charter to that particular, right?
Yeah.
So it's meeting every clause. So that's Betsy's point. Why would we put the cemetery under HR? Yeah, so where did that come from? That's a good
That
question.
question is, where did it come from?
Well-
Is it currently in our bylaws or special acts?
No, you don't really have a discussion of how this happens in yours. It's more of a,
Is this boilerplate stuff?
there's a few ways under organization. This comes from other town charters. There's a couple of types of town charters. I think we mentioned when you have a stronger town manager form of government, and they can move things around, essentially all they have to do is file something saying, here's my new organization plan.
Right.
But in town meeting, that in your form of government, it's a little bit more decentralized and you're asking specifically about about the select board. This is often the path that's followed. You have two ways of making these major organizations. One is town meeting can change things. And the other way is the town administrator can ask for this reorg. So it comes from outside. I'm not sure how they're doing it now, if there have ever been any changes. But right now your budget is assigning money to certain departments for certain things. And so this is kind of a realignment of those.
Something came up recently with the animal control officer moving under police. Do you remember this, Phil? Town meeting had to do that.
Yes.
Do you remember that? It was like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and they moved. I don't know what animal control was under at that time, but town meeting had to vote to move animal control under the police department.
I think it was almost autonomous, but
Yeah, maybe it was, because it was
This is its own thing.
established by bylaw that there was an animal control officer, and then they moved it because practically it was already under the police.
Well, first of all, there's bylaws, so they had to change it.
Well, this also,
Town meeting has the only one who could change bylaw.
That's-
I just feel like this is an overreach, and I hate to bring it up at this late date, but this does not feel like it fits to me it's not consistent with, kind of some of the stuff that we're doing. I can see with larger reorgs that you want to.
I think this could be a check on the financial controls of the town administrator. If the budget for a department is made and then an administrator moved to that department without any oversight, does that give the authority of that money to be in the large, the other entity or something weird like that? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Or
could
have
this
one-
be a
have
wise,
Smaller budget than they were supposed to have.
right, or
It
something
used
like?
to be, and I don't know if this still is, some state language about transfer budget money That was more of an end of the year thing, whether that would
I don't think this is about money.
create a problem.
Well, but it does mention like departments or multiple member bodies. Like that's the two things it's calling out.
Reorganization, either of those things.
And it feels like, a multiple member body. I don't know, I don't know whether that fits or not, but a department is a key word in my mind of like, oh, department means budget, department means budget.
And
So
what is a department? Is DPW a department?
Yep, Department of Public Works.
Or is water department, is department.
Exactly.
Like divisions, you're talking about the smaller divisions within
Yeah,
departments.
so if he shifts around the divisions, even though he calls it the water department, it's really part of the
Same group.
department of DPW.
And they all live in the same budget.
So that's not a reorg. That's
It's a
just,
different line.
that's
It's a
just,
different line, but.
he's not changing the budget of a department.
The bottom line's unchanged.
does it have value as a check just so that the town is always informed of what,
Well, the way this is
what they are?
reading.
I get you. It's a check. It's definitely a
Well,
check.
first of all, on the major stuff, yeah, maybe I could see it going to town meeting. But this doesn't say just the major stuff.
Well, it says departments.
Yeah, it says departments or multiple member bodies.
Well, we
What are departments?
we probably have some small departments that,
Are they departments?
well, they are, yeah, departments can be more than one person.
I'm
It's a
still hung
function.
up on the phrase, no function assigned by this charter, so it has to be something assigned by this charter.
All right, but wait.
Otherwise, you can miss all of it.
Except it's provided, however, that no function of the department or multiple member body may be discontinued or assigned. The clause is just saying, within the scope of the reorganization, you can't be reorganizing things that this charter has said.
Right,
So
but there's a lot this charter is not doing.
Right. Is that
if the charter doesn't deal with these, they can do it because it's not assigned by the charter.
But it's saying that the town meeting has to approve it.
Only if it's something assigned by the charter.
No, I think.
No,
No,
it
it's not,
says
it's
it-
the other way around.
I read it as
Can't
the,
even ask if it's assigned by the chair.
It's the other way around, Jack. It's the small stuff that town meeting has to approve the little stuff. And that's the part I'm having an issue with. I just feel like, how is the town administrator going to do their job if they need to do some little reorganizations for good reasons? Management, scope of control. I mean,
is
there's a
the
whole lot.
reorganization ever that little?
Yeah.
A reorganization of
Well,
a
you can have-
department or multiple member body.
Well, now show me a department that's small.
Licensing.
That's not one.
Department, that's the town clerk, which is established by charter.
It's under the town.
You can't
clerk,
change
under the
it.
license.
Department, small department. Okay, hold on.
I mean, all we have to do is look at the org chart. There aren't really.
The org chart's gonna be like for the
It
select
doesn't
board.
only have
Fire department, police department,
DPW.
DPW,
Recreation department.
that's separate. Right.
That's a multi-member
Recreation
board.
department, there's, right, but that's a department.
Yeah.
Not split into rec maintenance and programs like it was, but just the rec department. You can't move them someplace else.
Also,
We're a cemetery, we're a cemetery.
That's not a department.
It's, yeah,
It's
They
a
have,
division.
they have,
Yes.
It's a division of the Department of Public
they
Works.
have a line under the DPW.
yeah, see,
Oh,
this is, we're talking departments, and we've got departments to me. Maybe we need to define, because
that's good.
a department to me is, you've got DPW is the umbrella, and then within that you have different departments.
No, you don't. You have different divisions.
Yes.
Oh, well, that is a grammatical thing, but as I,
That
has
is
That's
not
a
a
definitional thing, though, yeah.
let's define it. I mean, that's fine, but the way this is written now, I just feel like it's,
But I don't think it's saying you can't do minor shuffling here and there. You can't move departments around.
That's right. You can't, and I actually like this because it is a check for the town meeting. And let's assume for the moment, let's say the town administrator does want to move some small thing that they think is small. Then the town meeting is just going to approve it, right? Like, the important thing is an individual's power is being checked by the group.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I hear
Agreed.
everybody.
Is the basis of this budget?
No, I was
No,
hypothesizing.
No, it's
I
more
was asking is.
organizational, so span of control, there's a whole lot of reasons why you might want to reorg something. Okay, so clearly I am in the minority. I'm gonna leave.
I don't think you're wrong to raise it though. I think this was a good discussion because I think your point about a department maybe is worth,
Having a definition.
especially given that it's now here. We should make sure there's a definition.
And for me, budget is the way you define a department.
I think you're probably
If
right.
you take a look at the budget book, they have department numbers, 113, 119, 122, 135,
We don't vote on the cemetery budget. We
Right.
vote on DPW's
Right.
budget.
which has a number here. Let's look at the number.
So is it possible that Pat, you were able to come up with some definition for town department?
Correct.
And add it to definitions?
And do you want it in the charter?
Or
Yes.
just the definition, because.
Yes, because I've referred to it in the charter and I've also referred to multiple member bodies, which we've also defined. But I want both definitions. So this argument doesn't have it. Not an argument, everyone's great.
Okay, well, I am resting my case.
Okay,
All right, next, table of organization. Uh, Oh, I had a question. Is the table of organization required for the school department too? If so, we should say so.
You should ask for it.
I think that would be, that's like in the communication.
Yeah.
Let's make sure everybody knows who the players are.
Well,
Yeah.
How granular do you get with that? Are you including like
Table,
classroom
like,
teacher, special education?
it talks about the current organizational chart reflecting departments, boards, committees, and
So we're
documents.
not individual people.
No, yeah, kind of like what we have
I'm not
here.
sure it applies to school departments, to be honest.
So
Well,
6.2, we said accept those under the jurisdiction for the table of organization. That's the chart. We say except for those under the, last time, I think we discussed that and you decided except for those under the jurisdiction of the school committee. Because the
why did
town
we-
administrator is preparing it.
Why did we say that?
Just in general, like the superintendent would provide theirs,
But I'm just saying, I think there should be one provided. I don't, like, I don't know who's gonna do it, but
This is a town government. We ain't met.
Is it possible to add
I know.
then a second paragraph?
a second
Oh, but we
paragraph.
can't-
We're
I
starting-
don't know that we're allowed to dictate what the,
right? I'm not 100% sure about that. It would be, I mean, if you treat the school like a department, like all the others, it would just be school department.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
confused about.
That would be the whole chart.
Okay, let's only have one conversation, okay?
on another note with this, because it's only reflecting town departments, boards and committees. Does it need to also have divisions? Because maybe as a resident, you're like, I want to know about that subgroup that I'm trying to understand. And I can't see it because it's not in the chart.
No.
Okay,
You want
it's
to-
fine. Just curious.
I do think there's,
I'm just asking questions.
I do think there's an effort to do more like click this button and expand,
Yeah, there
that
you
kind
go.
of thing,
Easy.
right?
Fair
But
enough. Yeah, we don't need to get to
But we
that.
can't do
If
that.
it gets
So the
a
question-
copy of the annual town report.
I'm content.
but the question is the school, should we have
So
a
should we,
org chart?
should there be an org chart for the schools? That is the question. And this,
It should the town administrator do it according to that language.
And should it be required by the charter?
should it be required by the charter? I'm like, this is in the interest of transparency, et cetera, et cetera. We're requiring one side of the town to have a org chart. Should we require the other side of the town to have an org chart as well?
And Pat's point is, if the org chart says recreation department, conservation department, town clerk department, school department would be,
Exactly.
it would just
It would
be
say
one
school
sheet of
department.
paper that says school.
But there, no, there are departments within the school.
Yeah.
No, there are not. It's the school
But
department.
there is a page that explains on the school department's website. You go into schools, it explains. This is the superintendent, these are the principals, these are the various vice principals, these are the, operations. So,
So, okay.
so there is, that does exist.
Right.
There are very strict rules concerning school committees, and we are not really, I don't think we really understand them.
I think you're right.
So
Leave it alone.
I'm not really sure we should go any further.
Okay,
You're exactly right, Steve. School committee and school departments are different words.
okay. Thank you. That's, I don't have any more on that. Elections.
So. I want to make sure. I think that we need a fix to 7.4.
Say,
Because we talk about the town-wide office and we're including town meeting members. So I would like to delete town-wide because it also should include precincts like town meeting.
Yeah.
Um,
I had that exact point ready to bring up. I agree.
Okay, so you're just deleting townwide and it for office shall appear.
Right.
Okay.
but I might say for town office, take out wide, because obviously, we
For
can't
elected
dictate what you do in state elections, but say for town office candidates for,
Need to say elected town office, so. Because it's only dealing with
And
elections.
the candidates, it's in the election section.
Yeah.
It's applied.
On a ballot.
okay,
Candidates for office,
Okay.
I'm just saying candidates for town office.
town office.
Um,
Yeah,
Any other,
Any other things there?
kind of just gone through this,
We mentioned the swearing of elected officers portion.
okay?
So this, I forget, you responded in the email, and I know what you said.
Right.
The heart of this is, the language only says the town clerk or the designee. The bylaw mentions the moderator. But in addition, the state law already says that a moderator can swear in during a town meeting.
People who are elected at that town meeting.
Yes, so
Right.
the question is, does this, section 7.5 need to be tweaked ever so slightly to say something like, I don't know, to include it?
To include,
But the clerk is always at the town.
I don't think it's there. This is just saying that a person elected has to be sworn in.
right, but it says by the town clerk, by the town clerk designate.
And
Do
the
you want to
moderator-
swear in
and-
officers?
That's
Okay.
designated by the town clerk.
Okay,
You're doing it at, let's see, this is where,
Designate, I have done it.
all right, this was where I was being a little like, meh. The state law says that you could do it, not that you're designated from the town clerk to do it, or sorry, not you, forget you. Says that the
Town
moderator can do it. And therefore, like, the town clerk could not choose not to designate the moderator. The moderator has the authority given by the state law. Moderators may administer an open meeting, the oath of office, blah, blah, blah. It is chapter 39, section 15 in Mass General Law. So it's not because the town clerk is designating the authority. The moderator is granted the authority by state law. So I'm trying to make sure that when we're talking about a section about swearing in of elected officers, maybe we want to note that the moderator may administer and, swear in.
But it's, so that's limited.
It is limited, which
The town
maybe it
meeting.
needs to state, like, maybe only during town meetings. I don't know what.
Yeah.
but-
I mean, we could add a separate sentence to say.
The only time that happens is when we're electing, appointing people.
I agree,
That's-
but we have a
that's
section
something
called
administered
swearing
by
in
the
of
town
elected
clerk,
officers.
It's right there and immediately swears them in.
What if they're showing up? I mean, look, the cases don't matter. The fact is, during an election, you're swearing in an officer. It is absolutely possible that this could happen during town meeting and be sworn in by the moderator who is not designated by the town clerk. Therefore, we're missing something here.
As Nikki
Or we're
said, just
being
add a
fair.
sentence. Was
Yeah,
that
that sentence.
Yeah. The town moderator.
Because state law allows it anyhow, so it's not.
Right, so I don't know whether it's stuff,
Yeah, I'll swear at the floor.
it's, something like whatever pursuant to the chapter 39, section 15, blah, 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 blah. The moderator may administer.
I have a question of clarification about that bylaw, though. Does that bylaw suggest that the moderator can swear in anybody?
Sorry, this is not a bylaw. This is Mass General Law.
Oh, Master,
It
okay.
says moderators may administer an open meeting the oath of office to any town officer chosen thereat. That's the quote. That's as much quote as I
Huh.
gave you. You
Okay.
can call it up yourselves. I wrote my own bullshit out. Sorry, no, that's actually Pat's writing because it's in blue.
right.
What did I write?
So,
So they have to be chosen at the town meeting.
right, so,
What-
and this is a throwback to way back when times when other officers were elected at town meetings and open town meetings.
Yeah.
And so the town moderator who was facilitating could swear them in. So it's kind of maybe you'd elect a constable there, maybe you would, so that's what that statute is. So why don't we just say the town moderator may administer oaths, pursuant to Mass General Law. Pursuant to,
Lovely.
3915.
we can,
I just.
I feel powerful.
Look, it's not about you. It's about all moderators in the future.
You can't.
Right. Okay,
Got your point.
are we good? Move on?
Great.
Recall.
My favorite session.
Okay, we have just gone through this in excruciating detail. So let's.
You want to go through it again and exclusion?
I prefer questions. I mean, if there are questions or if it's not written correctly.
I have no comments in there.
Okay, any comments on
Like,
8, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, any,
All in favor of section 8? Yeah. Opposed? Gary, yes.
oh,
I still have section 9.5.
and 9,
All days shall come, but if the last day is a Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday, what the hell are you gonna do?
so did
You
you
were
see
gonna
the
research
current,
that.
did you see the current version?
No.
I'll put it right
I
here.
just got the version from
That
me.
was on my section,
it's the one I sent to everybody.
I
Or-
updated
or-
this to use the wording in the Massachusetts Civil Procedures Guide
9.
and computation of time.
So that's what's in what you have there, Jack.
Yeah,
Rules
Yeah,
of
it's
Civil
confusing.
Procedure, the last.
more
day
than
of the period.
7 days and the last day is a Saturday, Sunday, or a legal holiday. What do you do?
Well,
Not
in that
included.
case, the period shall run until the end of the next business day and et cetera. So I
say
added that
Over
language.
here,
Um,
the next business
you
day,
probably can't.
but it's not in that last sentence. So you need to add that same phrase that. So you have it before, it says the last day of the period shall include unless it's a Saturday, Sunday legal holiday, which when it goes to the end of the next business day. In computing time under 7 days or less, only calendar days, not including Saturdays, Sundays, or legal, it shall be counted. Oh. If
Yeah.
more than 7 days, every day shall be counted, so that it does address that here.
Yeah, I
Right here,
added
yeah.
it,
But if the seventh day is a holiday, is what Jack's getting at, what do you do?
No, if it's more than.
the
7
last
days.
day of the period shall be included unless it's a Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday. In which event the period shall run until the end of the next business day.
Day, right there,
I used the language from the rules of civil procedure
right,
so that it can be interpreted with any cases that.
for 7 days or less, that was.
So that's almost like a separate, let's just put that in a separate paragraph. So that's a separate issue, right? First, in general, is the last. The first part deals with what's included and not included, and the second part separately says if you're talking about 7 days or less, only calendar days, not including Saturdays, Sundays, or legal holidays shall be counted.
I think that covers it, Jim.
That covers it. Okay,
That's the question.
Yep.
good, we
And we
got the
gave an
answer.
answer, hopefully. So, but I am gonna put an A and a B to this, just to make it more clear.
On 9.7. My question here is, why does select board not town meeting have this power?
You're right.
9.7.
Because the select board's the executive branch and it has a better handle on how things are operating throughout the town. Where the town meeting only meets a few times a year and isn't executing the day by day operations of the town and dealing with the bylaws and who's applying for permits under a bylaw, so that's
Bylaw
why.
review committee couldn't convene and do it at any time.
Right, they can do it anytime and they'll take a look at it, right, before it goes to town meeting anyway. They're a part of the process. This puts the select board in the driver's seat as far as making this happen.
The bylaw review committee can do it sooner than a year ending in 4.
Right.
So selectmen can also do it sooner, but they have to do it at least a year ending in 4.
So what's the
The
deadline?
note I have there is, can it be sooner? And the answer is, of course, it can be sooner.
Okay,
Unless there's a lead dick.
okay.
All
right. Is there something? Okay, anything else, there? Okay, anything on procedures? Okay, vacancies.
Yeah, 9:30, you can say. I'm a 9:15. You there yet?
I'm actually on 9:10.
9:10.
E, I think we just need to add, the expanded to the website and media. E, we talk about published on the town bulletin board for period of, for vacancies. It's the
Okay,
same
published on
language.
the town bulletin board,
Website and,
the town website,
and at least,
And-
and one of.
Local
the
news media.
Local news media.
You heard course yourself saying that.
Yeah. Like,
Local news media.
that's a psychic who knows about the news.
9:12, any comments there? My only comment is being absent from your duties for a year seems like a little long before you're gonna consider yourself like you need to get off. And we do have some, well, at least on some of the appointed boards, did one of my meetings where they said somebody hasn't shown up for a year. They didn't even know if they're still alive. So it was like, okay, but they're still officially a member of that group. So, I just felt like 1 year was a long time.
What do you want?
And I was looking at the 3 consecutive months.
Seems reasonable.
Sorry.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at 3 consecutive months and, versus if you miss 25% of the meetings. So I mean, you could go to every other meeting. So consecutive would be tossed.
and this just kind of creates a,
So the 3 months is without express leave from the chair, and a year is irrespective of whether or not they have express leave. Is that right?
yes. So someone could be on medical leave for 3 months. They could be on medical, they could decide to, they could hold it up. They can be on medical leave for a year, but 3 months they can, be off with.
In these days, you can Zoom. I don't care what hospital pay for it, you can Zoom.
I just feel like 1 year, that's the townspeople not being represented for a year on that position seems too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, at least like we have 3 town meetings a year, so 4 months. That's more reasonable than a year, right?
There are
Like,
multiple member bodies that meet very infrequently though, or.
Yes,
they're doing
well,
this.
not regularly.
Some are quarterly. I mean, you have
Committee, right?
ones. That's
Most, well, they're supposed to, that's it.
And then land use, they're a little wonky.
Yeah, but they should be meeting more often, but.
They multiple member bodies.
Are they a body? Members.
So
is that what the government-
my only thing is,
Yeah, but that language as it is exists now.
does that
We're making
language
this up.
exist now?
No, we're just
That's
Maybe.
not, no,
it's
this is
not
new.
in place right now. This is new to just kind of, you have nothing right now that, talks about when you can remove them. And, this is just.
What
giving
if we
you
get
some-
rid of that and just say for a period of 3 months without express leave from the chair of such member body and delete everything after that? For
This is
now.
only- this
And
is
drop
only for
consecutive.
members appointed by the select board. right?
Delete consecutive. I have
Yeah.
an issue with that one.
So if we delete the
No.
word,
Jack, the answer is no. This is a general provision.
And it says that in the first sentence, appointed by the select board to a multiple.
Oh, look at that.
may be removed from office of the appointing authority. That would be the select board. If said person fails to attend regularly scheduled meetings for a period of 3
3 meetings, 3 months.
Well,
So it's
I think
always-
So what if you ended it after chair? In that they may remove them if they fail to attend meetings for a period of 3 months without the express leave of the chair.
yeah,
I think,
The operable word is
because
may.
they
They don't
may,
have to.
they don't have to,
Right.
but they may, and let's get that year out of there so that, that's what I'm thinking.
I would still include the chair of such multiple member body
Oh,
so that it's
yeah.
not confusing that the select board chair might
Yeah.
be able
Yes.
to give them that permission.
Okay, so then it would read, Pat, why don't you read it?
A person appointed by the select board to a multiple member body may be removed from office if the appointing authority. Maybe we should say a person appointed to we have to get rid of the by the select board. That's a mistake.
No, why can't you
Because-
get rid of by the select board?
Well,
Because this is
a person
anybody.
appointed, it could be to any multiple member body, not just one that the
Could
select
be,
board.
it could be a town meeting, for example,
Right.
committee.
Or it could be the school.
But the moderator has power to remove them, no?
I don't
Thereabouts.
get a point. I mean, you don't have to remove.
It also could be the like school committee representative
Or-
to the recreation.
So,
Actually, we don't, you can choose. I mean, do you want,
so let's say any person appointed to a multiple member body may be removed from office by the appointing authority if said person fails to attend regularly scheduled meetings for a period of 3 months without express leave from the chair, period.
from the chair of
No.
such.
Oh, that's not chair of the multiple member board body, period.
No, but that's not the appointing authority that gets rid of it.
It's the chair.
Committee, yeah.
Of that committee.
So I'm moving by.
And it's may, not shall. So it's an option. So if somebody's got somebody's out for 3 consecutive meetings, 3 meetings.
A year, so that, a year, is that?
So
that
the
is-
chair has
This is 3
authority,
consecutive.
not the multi-member body. So the chair is exclusive authority.
I have a, yes.
No, the appointing authority is the one who, that's what it says, removed from office by the appointing authority. The chair has authority to grant the leave, but the appointing authority is who can remove someone.
So does the appointing authority by granting leave veto the power of the appointing authority?
You mean the chair by granting leave?
Yeah,
If the
the
chair
chair.
granted leave, then the appointing authority,
Has the
Cannot
authority
remove.
to,
Yeah, no.
For 3 months.
it's like after 3 months, right?
are you asking, can an appointing authority remove someone anyway?
Even if the chair says,
I'm saying forget, let's start at the beginning. Can an appointing authority remove anybody for any reason?
No.
Great. Can an appointing authority remove someone because they're absent?
As of now, no, but this would allow us to.
So that's
So,
what we're doing.
You know, I'm just rereading this, but do we need to know what happens? Okay. If they fail to attend regularly scheduled meetings for 3 months without express leave from the chair, or if the person, the second part is intended for the situation of the 1 year, or we could say make that 6 months if you want, is what about the situation where the chair expressly allows them leave for more than 3 months, 6 months, a year? So, and I think that's what
Then we
the
can say
second
that.
half,
Then we can say that.
But it says may, it doesn't mean that,
right?
that would be a
Hmm.
factor in the consideration. Well, the chair says, listen, I knew they were gonna be out for 6 months, but now it looks like maybe it's gonna be longer, or all of these issues are coming up and we need somebody in this seat.
But maybe her point is that maybe this was Jack's point. I don't know whose point it is, but maybe it matters that the appointing authority gets a check on the power of the chair. Oh, you've been allowing this person to be gone for 2 years? No, they're off the committee. You see, that's the point there. It's where it's making sure that the appointing authority can't be overridden entirely by the chair if the chair is granting endless leave. And that's, I think, what Jack was getting at.
Well, how about if you say for a period of more than 3 consecutive months? Period. Get rid of, who cares what
Right.
About the leave.
Right.
who
Yeah,
cares what the chair says?
right.
Well, there may be circumstances where I guess you're giving deference to the chair to grant a certain amount of leave, which is 3 months. Because they'll know their medical situation, they'll know, somebody's not going to share that with
Yeah.
The whole
the
committee.
whole.
And the,
The
and
select-
the appointer may remove, so the appointer could still choose not to remove because they learned some circumstance, but at least that gives the, whatever you get.
So I'm wondering if you want to leave in that part, or if such person is absent from a duty and maybe make that shorter to 6 months. Something like that.
I think that 6 months would make me happy.
Yeah.
A year feels like a really long time, but we do want to make sure that these folks are doing their jobs and know that they're alive and they know they're on the committee and
You can check the
Town
vote
is
list to see if they're
representative.
alive.
what's that?
You can check the vote
Yeah,
list to see if
again,
they're alive. or
my
standing
only
down.
point here is, at some point, our constituents aren't being represented.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't feel sorry for somebody that they can't attend because they've got some sort of issue. It's like, ultimately, we're trying to represent the views, and these committees are important and they should have people representing them. And if somebody's not able to do so, they should resign and let somebody else step in. But if they don't, then there needs to be a time limit. So as a first step, maybe we start with 6 months. And then see how that goes.
And to your point, you could be there. You could miss 2 consecutive meetings. I get an issue with months versus meetings. And then go to the third one. And then miss 2, go to the third one. So 3 meetings over 12 months or something, I don't know, in a year.
And that's
But also-
not accounting for
but
25%.
But right now, there's no provision for removal, so this is giving some parameters to
I
start
just think
with.
issue was consecutive.
And then there's the terms, they could not renew
Can
the
we
term.
take consecutive out?
They can choose to,
But then if you miss 3 meetings in a year
Yeah.
and you're a body that meets twice a month, then you're.
That's why I say you throw in a percentage and then I guess
Yeah.
Right.
You look at,
25% or something like that.
town meeting committees will go 3 months without meeting.
Yeah, that's fair.
You get through May. And there's nothing on the warrant in September for them to worry about. They might not meet till November.
Yeah.
So that's 3 months, but.
Perhaps a provision that quantifies a certain amount of time or a certain amount of meetings, whichever is greater.
I have a great idea. Let's put this in bylaws and say, refer them to, say, any person appointed to a multiple member body may be removed from office per,
We don't have a bylaw. We don't have one. But we don't have one. We won't have one when, you can't do that if there's not. one
That's the
there.
list of things that.
Right,
I know, but we haven't done that. We haven't referred in the charter to a bylaw that doesn't exist.
well, right, you say, as provided by bylaw or something like that. I'm not
Or-
suggesting that we refer to a bylaw. that
You do
doesn't-
the opposite, you state some values and then you allow a bylaw to change those values.
Yeah, which
So-
is also fine.
Right, like.
Mm.
You
That's
could
fine,
say, any person appointed to the select board, multiple member bodies, whatever, not the select board's out, you get that, but whatever. May be removed from office by the appointing authority. If said person fails to attend
50% or something.
Regular meetings?
regular meetings. Without express leave for the chair. I don't know, you're right, and we're getting too detailed.
Right, it gets
Yeah,
too
like-
detailed and I feel like.
I'd leave it as it is, to be honest. Because there's that big may in there,
That's true.
and I'm thinking how it might apply to the moderator, and I'm not gonna throw someone off because the committee hasn't met for 6 months. I can get rid of all of them if I wanted.
Yeah.
Then have to find new people, so no, I ain't gonna have. But so,
Do you say leave it as a year? Is that what you're saying, though? Leave it as
you
is.
could have it as 6 months, or you could have it as a year.
You can take the whole thing out of the charter. They don't
Why don't
worry
we-
about it.
Well, I think what we're
We
trying
want
to do is,
a mechanism for.
we want a mechanism for removal. If we change it to 6 months,
We don't have one, we're making one now.
Let them create one.
this is a standard thing that's usually included in a charter. of some
Um,
sort? Is that true?
Yes, if you want to have a way to remove members, you know,
It's generally in the
it's-
chart.
it might
If you
start
don't
being
want
a
a way
place
to
to.
remove members in the charter,
to
you
put in the
just don't
charter.
put it in the charter.
Right now you don't have any mechanism of that. Really
Which
what
means,
happens is they're not renewed in their next term, right? So, and many of these, there's all different terms for the multiple member bodies. But, right now they're just not renewed. And that's the longest they're gonna go, right? Is until the next term,
Which is
Let them go.
a year for.
which for
but
some.
how is
it's
it
a
not
year-
happening?
Yeah,
It's not happening. Right?
And what's not happening?
I mean, there are committees where, as I said, I went to one committee and somebody's not been there for a year. I mean, so
So no one checks on them and Bill, do you? I mean, how do you know that the showed up? You don't.
I don't.
The chairs, it's on. It's
I mean, it's.
And
it's-
it's-
because I have no authority.
All of
Maybe
this
they
is
have a
true, but it's
long-term
outside the
goal if they
scope of
wanna-
it, in the sense that like, it's. What do we want to have happen? That is what we craft. We want an appointing authority to have the ability to remove someone.
Yeah.
Who's MIA.
Yeah.
All we need to do is clarify, what do we mean by MIA? How do we define that to feel good about?
and I think it does belong in the charter, so I guess I agree with you, Russ. We just need to define. And maybe we leave it as it was as a start. It seems like a year's a long time, but maybe it's a stake in the ground.
Can we add
You
or
will
as determined by law? I mean, we put something specific, but give the if we put it in the charters specifically,
Right.
bylaw can't change it.
Right.
Or as, yeah,
So we have to allow that.
Unless otherwise.
specified by bylaw. Let's do that, right? That way we got some other ones for whatever one is.
It's the consecutive, that's what gets me.
All right,
Because I know people
so
that-
just to be clear for like enumerating the issues, there was the thing about the select board that's already been changed, so it's gone. There's a thing about 1 year and whether that should be less. There's a thing about
Consecutive.
3 consecutive months, and there was another thing about instead of months referring to meetings.
Right.
So which of these do we want to consider?
Months. We don't, you don't want to put meetings in there, that's too.
Okay,
But maybe you don't have a meeting for 3 consecutive months, so maybe there's a lot.
it does say regularly scheduled
I
meetings.
haven't missed anything yet.
Or what if you're on Ways and Means and you meet every single week in the month of April and you're on a planned vacation? I mean, again, the word may is in there, so that sort of accounts for that. But,
So the timer starts at the first missed meeting.
Yep.
Good to know.
Regularly scheduled, so like if they're not
First
meeting. it
this
wouldn't
meeting
happen.
and then they count months.
I'm unclear as to whether we decided to change that 6 months, 1 year to 6 months.
Well, that's, I think, what Russ is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think there are 5 things that is unclear that we've changed any of that. They've all been brought up. So why don't we take one at a time?
Mhm.
You can start with the 1 year, okay? Sounds like Betsy has a motion on the table to make it 6 months. There's a second.
second,
I'll
in
give you
favor.
a motion.
All in favor.
All in favor, 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, 6 months wins.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Next one is, I guess this is not a motion yet, it's a discussion. How do we talk about 3 consecutive months as either meetings or months?
Again, you have committees that don't meet except for 3 times a year or something.
what if you just said a majority of regularly scheduled meetings and delete that for a period of 3 consecutive months?
Oh, I like that, the majority.
Or majority is just 50% or more.
Of what?
Everybody knows what that means.
Over what?
Of regular.
Majority of regularly scheduled.
So after 1 meeting, you missed it.
It's a majority.
you would miss a majority
Majority
of regularly scheduled meetings that I determined as well.
No, over
1
the
year.
course of a time, over the course.
You
of
need to define a source of.
Can I just say, the reason for the 3 months is to say, okay, if it's unexcused, it's saying, if you haven't been there in 3 months, if you've missed regularly scheduled meetings for 3 months, I can let you go. However, if you have permission to be gone, I have to wait for a year to let you go. I just want you to understand.
But
like,
we
the
don't get,
opposite.
there's no vehicle for permission, really. I mean, there's no leave of absence It's not like an employer.
The chair.
Well, there is.
You're
You're
a chair,
calling
the chair. The chair gives you permission because you have a valuable spot on this committee and you're going through some serious health issue. And they want to hold the spot open for you
Yeah.
because you've been on the committee for 10 years and you're really important. You know, it gives them that opportunity for a certain period of time to allow you to stay. So that's,
But if we go back to the majority of meetings, the majority of meetings
Over what period?
over,
over a year. And then
over a year, over 6 months, I mean, pick your
then
favorite.
you have to wait
You
6
have to wait
months
6 months to.
anyway.
That's
Or here you can
good.
let them go and if no one shows up for 3 months, you can let them go right away.
And okay, and the problem is that there are groups that don't meet.
Right.
So then they haven't missed
They
any.
haven't missed any regularly
Exactly.
scheduled meetings.
Unless they're clumped together. I mean, I don't know if that happens. In other words, you just meet in the last quarter. Or for the first 6 months or what have you.
Maybe it's night or something.
I know, it's
I mean,
a lot.
this gives us something to start. It gives us a tool to use. There are so many different committees with so many different meeting schedules that to try to accommodate every one of them,
I know.
you ain't gonna get there.
So we leave the language with it the way it is, maybe change it to 6 months rather than a year, and then add the
Unless otherwise specified. by law.
unless otherwise specified by bylaw, which allows for something else to come in and do it.
Right.
Right?
And the may allows for latitude.
And may allows for latitude.